Welcome everyone to the PJScast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside my good pal Dylan. So, happy Bleep Day to you, y'all. We got a fun podcast planned ahead of us. So, this podcast we're doing our annual mock trades or trades we like to see. Been doing this, I think, 4 years now. I remember we did it in 2021, and then we've done it the last couple of years too. So, yeah, it's been four years of this now. So, um, since it is a leap day and I'm a weirdo that cares for this kind of stuff, kind of would just want to read off some interesting stats about February 29th. So I saved this thing from NHL Public Relations and some players that were born on February 29th. First player on the list is Henry Richard. He was born February 29th, 1936. He had 11 Stanley Cups. So the player with the most Stanley Cups is a player in NHL history was born on February 29th. Some more recent ones. Simone Gagne was born on a leap day in 1980, and our very own Blackhawks legend Cam Ward was born on a leap day in 1984. So I don't know. I just thought I would share that to start off the podcast. But um, yeah, we're getting close to the trade deadline. We're a week away. It'll be next Friday. Um, but we have a game to talk about. So on Sunday was the big game. Was mostly overshadowed by Chris Chelios, which was a great ceremony. Well, your parents went to the game, right? How was that for them? Did they say how it was?
They said they had a good time. Yeah. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
talked to them about it, so I don't really know how they had. But yeah, they had a good time. I didn't catch the game, so I don't know what the fuck happened. I just know Kane got an overtime winner. So
Yeah. I didn't watch like in full, but I watched the highlights and kind of watched it on in the background. It's hard to watch this team like paid too full attention to this team, so I kind of just had it on in the background and obviously got glimpses of the highlights. I mean, if you're just looking at it from a pure hockey fan objective standpoint, it's a great game to watch. I mean, as a Blackhawks fan, it's a dagger to the heart that Patrick Kane scored in his return. And not only that, Alex DeBrincat too. I think you brought up last podcast that Alex DeBrincat hasn't scored against the Blackhawks since being traded, and then there you go, he scores. And it was really a good effort from them, from what I saw and what the stats shown. Like, I thought that it's probably one of the few games they've lost that they've deserved to win, I would say. But I mean, Detroit's been a good team, and when we get into that mock trade, I actually have a pretty sizable trade for them. So other than that, there's really nothing much to report on with the Blackhawks. So kind of to get into the trade talk, there was one that happened last night between Calgary and Dallas. So Dallas got Chris Tanev, and then I think New Jersey retained like 50% of the cap that Calgary already retained on him, and then the Flames got a second round pick, and then Artem, I think, Grushnikov. So, what are your initial thoughts on the trade? Because I really like this from Dallas's standpoint, especially not having to give up a first round pick.
yeah, it was a really good trade from Dallas's perspective, and I think we say it every year. Everyone always overhypes their assets, but like we this pretty much I don't know. This gauge to me pretty good what the market looks like right now. If you're not a center and if you don't shoot right in a below 30, you're not getting a first round pick. Period. And like Tanev, like he has injury concerns. He's like 35, but when he's healthy, he's one of the best defensive D men in the league. It's going to allow Heiskanen to be a rover, which is just going to be a hoot to watch because usually that's the guy who's getting held back by Ryan Suter. So that'll be a nice change of pace. Um, Calgary is I like they're selling, but like I still don't trust Craig Conroy and what he's
No, me
doing.
either.
Like the Lindholm trade's fine, but I don't know. Like this one, like I guess in hindsight, the Sharon Govich trade is fine, but like, sorry, if I'm rebuilding, I don't want a 25-year-old. Like that's just how it works. But they're not rebuilding because they won't commit to it. So whatever. We'll see if they already said they're not trading Markstrom anymore, so that tells you where their mindset is. Like next, we're gonna hear they're gonna keep Hannafin too. Like it's good they parted with some assets, though. I will say that.
Yeah, and it kind of leads into the bigger discussion for me because when that Markstrom trade got nixed, it was because of the concerns. The Flames didn't want to retain salary, and I think that goes past Craig Conroy. And we've talked about it. There are teams where the GM isn't fully in control. He gets orders from the owner or the president or whoever, and I feel we kind of have that in Toronto with Brad Treliving and Brandon Shanahan, whereas Brad Treliving is kind of Brendan Shanahan's puppet to pull off what he really wants. Whereas I feel kind of the same thing in Calgary, where um, Craig Conroy really isn't in control. He's kind of a puppet, figurehead for Murray Edwards, who, from everything, it kind of seems like a cheap ass. And you want to make money, you want to field a competitive team, but it's not that the Flames are bad, it's that they're mediocre, and I feel we've been seeing this since the beginning of the year. If there was ever a year for a team to just completely blow it up, it would have been this year, because they're still probably going to trade Noah Hannafin, and I mean, who knows, maybe they trade Jacob Markstrom in the offseason, but I feel this could have been a massive trade deadline, and kind of to further to that point with Murray Edwards kind of stepping in, and maybe Craig Conroy not having full control. So this is from at NHL Trade Alert. It says Jeff Merrick show. Elliott says Calgary asked Dallas about Stankoven, Bork, and Bixel, and we're told no, which I get because those are premium prospects from the Stars end. I don't think you're going to get them unless you're trading like a superstar with like multi-term. But then it says they also valued Grushnikov more than a late first rounder in the 2024 draft based on his development in the AHL so far and what they've seen for him. And I think there's always the talk of, well, Dallas is a very good team, a late 2020, a late first round pick. How much more difference would that have been had they got a second? But I don't know. It's not great enough. I'm a Flames fan. I don't know what I'd be doing right now, because I don't know what the direction is.
The direction's very clear to me. They want to be the Minnesota Wild really bad.
Yeah,
So
I guess so.
yeah, but that's okay, guys. They're going to be good in 2027 because Connor Zary has like 30 points this year. Like yeah, there's just a lot of teams that are just so okay with being middling crap. It's kind of insane.
And it feels like the Flames have low key been stuck in that for almost forever now, because obviously they made the Stanley Cup final 2004, and they had guys like Kippersoff and Iginla, and even guys like Giordano and Bouwmeester came around, and they were never, a great team. Like, they would sneak into the playoffs a couple of times, but they would never go far. And, they would never be bad enough to the point where you're getting these high end picks. And they kind of lucked in with having a guy like Johnny Gaudreau and picking high enough once to get Matthew. So my computer decided to crap out, well, my internet at least, and I had to restart my computer. So let's go into the next topic here. Elias Pettersson, after saying, "Oh, he might not want to stay in Vancouver," apparently has made significant talks and contract. So it just feels like one of those things where someone hears something and then it's not actually the truth. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't think the Blackhawks are ever gonna get him. But I mean, if he was gonna be available and not want to resign in Vancouver, that should have been one player where, like, you do your due diligence and see what you could do to get him. Because, man, 25-year-old center superstar guy who's got 100 points. I don't know how, like, those don't grow on trees, and like, I don't know what Vancouver's doing. Like, they should obviously resign him, but yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I feel like I have mentioned this a couple times with Pedersen. They messed up 3 years ago bridging him. Like, this all stems back to that. You wouldn't have had this problem if you locked him up to 10.5 times 8 when you should have. But no, they
Mm-hmm.
had to save like $3 million and bridge him. And I have so much trouble understanding why you want to bridge a young player. I just don't understand that, because it always comes back to bite you every time. The only case I could think of where a bridge kind of worked was DeBrincat, and
Mm-hmm.
that was more the case of him just not hitting the ceiling he needed to hit the year of his contract. it's not a and like the rumor that like they were gonna get like Natchez and Kotkaniemi from Carolina, like
Well, that
oh
was the thing I wanted to bring because I saw this. So it's from at Puck Report NHL. According to multiple sources, the Canucks and Hurricanes had discussions about Elias Pettersson that advanced to a stage where both he and Vancouver needed to make serious decisions about where their relationship was headed. Vancouver ultimately decided in favor of another attempt extending him, and he allowed his agents to resume talks. No extension is complete at this time, but there certainly is momentum in that direction.
yeah. Uh, I it just this should have not been as difficult as they're making it out to be. Like you said, this is a 100-point player. This is a guy who could be a Hart Trophy finalist if he plays his cards right. Like I don't know, man. Like Vancouver really just boggles my mind every season, whether good or bad. It seems like the good years they're like, oh, we're gonna trade Horvat, which or like not that, but like they're like, oh, we're gonna have Tyler Toffoli play great and then not use him ever again. And it's just like, okay, well, that was like the one time you had success, but sure. And then now they're looking like they're gonna be a serious team come playoff time. They trade for Lindholm and
Might make another move, yeah.
yes, still might make another move. This is the best the roster's looked in well over a decade, I'd say.
Definitely since they were, going to the cup final and winning President's Trophy, that's for sure. But also that team was crazy in 2011.
Yeah, and I just feel like you know how we always talk about like the booger on the cake. Like, how am I supposed to be excited about this team when there's just that question mark of, oh, the catalyst of
hmm
the whole team might not be here next year because you guys are lowballing him in contract talks. Even though from what it sounded like money wasn't the problem. It sounded like Pedersen's like, I just don't want to be here. Which like that stems from
That
management.
might
That
be
stems from a lot of things, bro. But you know what fixes all that? A deep playoff run. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Like we're not going to talk much about Winnipeg, but heal or winning does heal all. And like the concern with Winnipeg right now is they're not selling enough season tickets, and people are like regular season ticket holders are quitting or like leaving and getting rid of them because they're offering cheaper packs and they don't want to be there. But I feel Winnipeg is geared to have a deep playoff run once they get into the playoffs and they go deep and play. People actually want to go to the game, then that's going to generate money. Whereas right now it's regular season. People know the team is good, but you're just not making you're not having sellouts and all that stuff. And it just sucks that there's even rumor of this team being moved because we've seen what's been happening in Arizona for God knows how long. And like as soon as Winnipeg isn't selling out games and things are going well, we might have to have this discussion again. They might really okay for the third time. But yeah, I think that's a separate issue. But winning cures all is what I'm trying to say. Like if Winnipeg goes on a deep playoff run, like we're not talking about that. But yeah, back to Patterson. I mean, Carolina being interested in Pedersen is very interesting because Carolina historically has been a team that doesn't spend a lot of money, but then there's also been the moments where they'll offer cheap Kotkaniemi's, and they gave money to Sebastian Aho, so I don't know, but that was interesting seeing Carolina in there. But yeah, if if Pedersen is available, like I don't care even like just seeing that out there. If I'm a general manager, I'm still trading my top prospects to get Elias Pettersson because you again 100-point centers don't grow on trees. It's just if you have a chance to trade for him, you do it. And Vancouver, like just sign him.
This
Jim
shouldn't
Jim
be this
Benning's
hard. It
no,
really
it
shouldn't be.
really shouldn't. Like Jim Benning, even though this team is doing well, there's still like ghosts that haunt them because should have given him a long term contract, man. They could have even given him 6 years like they did with Hughes, but they gave him 3. And I forgot where I was gonna go. But yeah, the bridging almost never works unless you're a team that's like like you're a team that's trying to win and do everything you can to win, and you can't, fit them to a long term contract, and they maybe take a pay cut because you're gonna win. Like I think Tampa did that with a couple players, but when you're the Vancouver Canucks, I don't think you get that benefit of the doubt. So man, I don't think he gets moved at the deadline, but if nothing gets resolved and that's hanging over your franchise by the draft, that's going to be an interesting storyline to follow.
Dude, right? Like that's the biggest trade that will have happened in the NHL probably since the first Carlson trade, maybe. Like I just think the ripple effect a trade like that could have on the league is terrifying to think about. Like, imagine another elite center in the Eastern Conference. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what? And you know what? Shout out Carolina, because Carolina knows what they need to get over the top, and they try to go
Mm-hmm.
get it. And some teams don't have the balls to go try to get it. So I don't know. Like I said, Vancouver is just they're playing with their food right now in a situation where you really don't need to.
I'm just thinking of the Eastern Conference teams that Pettersson. Like I'm thinking the Rangers. If I'm on the Rangers, like I'm trading every, prospect in the system to get Elias Pettersson. Like who else would be good for? Well, Pettersson would be good on any team, but I'm just thinking in terms of a team that's on the verge of potentially winning a Stanley Cup and just needs that extra piece. I mean, hey, Pettersson, I think would be as good as an extra piece as any player in the NHL. And
Right.
speaking of hypothetical trades, do you want to get on to
Yes, can we
this
lead off with
segment?
my first trade because it just got proven right. So
Oh boy, let's sure, yeah, you go
okay,
right ahead.
so I wanted to start like I don't mean to beeline into this conversation, but
No, please do.
so the first trade I wanted to do, like I did five and six
So did I.
technically, but I I wanted to do some that were like big game hunting, some that were little game hunting, and with the Leafs, I want to start off with them because
Ooh, make it
I
about the Leafs.
I really think Tanev was like the guy for them, but there are secondary spots they could go, and I'm not saying they could one stop shop, but I think they got to at least kick tires on Sean Walker. And
Yeah.
according to Kevin Weeks, they are kicking tires on Sean Walker, which is kind of crazy because I said that like half jokingly earlier today to someone, and now it's happened. It could be happening. Nick Sealer's also getting interest, but I'm
Hell
looking
yeah.
at like if the Leafs really want to make a big move. So like a smaller move obviously is like I think Sean Walker for a conditional first. Like I think because they don't have any seconds, so you're gonna have to do some sort of conditional first round pick to where if they don't make like the conference final, it's not a first. You know what I mean?
We're starting to see more of those wacky conditional picks, and I think leading up to the trade deadline, we're going to see even more of that, like more convoluted ones.
Yeah, dude, for sure. So, but this trade I got a little crazy. So I'm going
Hell yeah.
I'm going one stop shopping
Got a
with
little
this
nutter
one.
butters with it.
Yeah, so we're going Sean Walker and Scott Lawton to the Leafs. And we're doing a 2024 first, top 10 protected. We're doing a 2026 conditional first because they have, like, I can't stress enough, they don't have any assets. And if they have
No.
assets, they don't want to trade them. And I
Mm-hmm.
wrote down Nick Robertson or Bobby McMahon. I don't know if they want to trade Bobby McMahon, but I got to
Yeah, I
imagine
was
there's
going to
got to be a
say.
player going the other way. So, um, I think this could be a win for both teams. Leaf fans are probably going to like red flag for having two firsts in a trade. But like when I say conditional 2026 first, they have to like win the cup to get that first. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those situations. But I see this situation where like if they get Lawton, they have that 3 seed that they desperately need right now, which allows them to play Domi on the wing, which allows them to have this flexibility in their middle six. And then you get Scott or Sean Walker, who has proven he could be a legit top 4 right-handed defenseman, and it's exactly what this team needs. And he has a low cap hit. Both of them have a low cap hit, actually. So they would take some cap magic, but that's the first trade I wanted to lead off with, mainly because Kevin Weeks said the Leafs have real interest in Sean Walker. So I could see a world where that's a match made in heaven for Toronto and Philly for that matter. But also like
Mm-hmm.
Philly, it's one of those situations where like they could sell Walker and be fine. So
Yeah, because they have enough depth on their blue. Actually, I think they lost. I think Drysdale is out for a bit, but it's funny looking at their injury because I'm looking at Philadelphia's cap states right now. So they have Ryan Ellis on their injury reserve, Rasmus Ristolainen, and Jamie Drysdale, but still looking at that defense, you have guys that can play. Sean,
they have 9
you got
defensemen that are
Cam
healthy.
York, you got Ronnie Attard, who's a young defenseman. Nick Seal, I think they'll be fine.
Zamula, a bunch of dudes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my first trade. I just wanted to lead off with that one. Felt like that was a fun one.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at Scott Lawton, 3 years left at $3 million. That's very affordable for a player. Like he's the perfect third line center, really. And yeah,
Dude, and it's
Sean
a
Walker.
manageable hit too. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Leafs need someone like that. Like him and Yarncroak on the third line, that's gross. That's gross, period. And then throw, like, I don't know, Matt Nyes on that line. That could be a fucking interesting line, to say the least.
And yeah, Sean Walker I think has been very underrated. So no, I do like that trade for the Leafs. Like you're not getting the big superstar name, but you know what you're getting, and you're getting cost control for one of those players. So I mean, it's the Leafs. Your top guys are playing as well as they ever have been. Really, I mean, Matthews might legitimately have a shot at getting 80 goals. Just give them the support. Have guys that know their role, and I think that's Scott Laughton and Sean Walker. I mean, they're not going to help this team out now. They got to win now. So
For
no, it's a
sure.
good trade. So for my first trade, I mean, you got yours was bonkers. I have a three-way trade. I mean, huge threesome fan, if I'm being honest. Um, so this involves another Canadian team that needs to win the Stanley Cup, but they are in the West. As a matter of fact, it's my hometown, the Edmonton Oilers. So I have the Edmonton Oilers receiving Jacob Chikrin and Vladimir Tarasenko half retained, and then the Ottawa Senators get Philip Broberg, Raphael Lavoie, 2024 first, and kind of like you did last trade, I have the Oilers giving the Senators a 2026 second round pick that becomes a 2026 first if they win a cup anytime before that. So I mean, Oilers couldn't win. Maybe they don't win this year. Maybe they don't even win in 2025. But if they win before that 2026 draft, win a Stanley Cup, Ottawa Senators get a first round pick. So Oilers are pretty strapped tight to the cap. They're taking on $6.6 million, and they're clearing like I think 1.6, and both Broberg and Lavoie are down in the minors. So this is where the third team comes in. And as a matter of fact, this third team is the Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, well, isn't that just convenient?
I know. Well, just wait. It gets even more convenient.
Oh, Cody Ceci is so going to be a Blackhawk, isn't he?
I mean, come on. Like, they got a former Leafs and Senators defenseman. Like, literally, Literally, it's that trade from 2019 so they take Zaitsev and now they got Cody Ceci. And I think the best part of this whole three-way trade, it's not the Oilers, shoring up, getting a probable top two defenseman in a playoff performer like Vladimir Tarasenko. I think the biggest part of this trade is Chicago Blackhawks. Yes, you were taking on Cody Ceci, but after this year, only 1 year at 3.25 mil. He's basically Zaitsev replacement. You have a guy who can play the right side as a third pairing defenseman, but you might know if you've listened to this podcast. I met this guy at the airport. For your troubles, Ken Holland says you can have one Xavier Bourgault. So that's the trade. So the Oilers get Jacob Chikrin, Vladimir Tarasenko. Ottawa Senators get back Broberg and Lavoie, so that covers their defensive and forward part. You get a 2024 first. I know they're having, they want to get another first in there with the uncertainty of not knowing what's going to happen with their first for Dodonov. And then hell, if the Oilers win a cup, they might get another first round pick. So, and then the Blackhawks, they take on a salary cap dump with Cody Ceci, but I mean, he could still play somewhat. And they get Xavier Bourgault, another forward prospect in there. So, what do you think about my three-way trade?
That was wild. I was not expecting.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, like if Edmonton makes that trade, there is zero fucking excuse for McDavid. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think people realize how good of a clip Tarasenko's putting up this year, especially at 5-on-5.
He's underrated, I think. Well, now
he's just on a dog water Sens team, but like you put him in the top 6, dude. Like, come on. That's disgusting. And then you get Chikrin, who is a legit number 2 defenseman on the back end for you. Like Chikrin, Bouchard, top pair, say goodnight. Like, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. And then it allows you to not play Darnell Nurse 35 minutes a game or whatever they're doing. Mm-hmm. So I would love that trade. How many firsts did you say Edmonton traded?
So 2 firsts. So guaranteed one for 2024.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was making sure because I was like, I just wanted to make sure the compensation was right because it had to be pretty steep for Chikrin, I would imagine. Because doesn't he have a year left after this?
Yeah, and that's another thing. Not only do you have him for this year, you have him for the next year.
It would be huge, dude. And if you could find a way to maintain Tarasenko, like Tarasenko wants to go to a cup contender. He said he'd waive. So, and
Mhm.
ironically,
That's the
Tarasenko's in one
thing.
of my trades coming up. So,
Yeah, that's the thing. Both of them have modified no trade clauses. I think most of the players I have traded have modified no trade clauses. But I mean, you're playing in Ottawa on this horrible team. Yeah, going to Edmonton probably isn't much better. But I mean, you're going to be there for the spring. You're going to be on a potential cup winning team. I think they will both waive to go there.
for sure.
And by the way, Vladimir Tarasenko on the god awful Sens, almost as bad as the Blackhawks. 38
Yeah.
points in 55 games, and he is a playoff performer. He always owned the Hawks. In 97 career playoff games, he has 44 goals.
Good player.
Good player. And yeah, just to give you like an example of how the good the Oilers would be. I mean, their first line is Draisaitl, McDavid. You have two of the best players on planet Earth, and then a guy who might who's probably going to score 50 goals this year. Their second line right now is Evander Kane, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, and Matthias Janmark. I mean, you just take Janmark out and put Tarasenko in there, and then your third line is Fogle, McLeod, Perry. Fourth line, Holloway, Gagnons, and Connor Brown. I mean, that already wasn't that fun of a lineup to play against. Adding Vladimir Tarasenko in there on that second line and then putting him on the power play, yeah, have fun. And then yeah, the defense. I think they keep Ekholm and Bouchard together because they have very good chemistry, and I know they have very good numbers. And Ekholm's been a very good mentor for Bouchard. And again, second pairing, take out Cody CC, put Jacob Chikrin in there. I don't care if he's on his offside; he can figure it out. He's good enough. Takes a little bit of burden off and Darnell Nurse, and then Brett Kulak and Desharnais. There's your third pairing, and that it really just ties it all together. It's a one-stop shop. I mean, this is the year they have to go for it. You don't care if you're giving up, Philip Broberg, who's a former top 10 pick, and has kind of struggled to get playing minutes. Get a legitimate top pairing defenseman for him. Rafael Lavoie has had decent numbers and I think in Bakersfield, but he's not going to play on the team. So get him while their value is high. They might be I think they'll be of use to the Senators, especially Broberg, and then first round picks. So yeah, and then the Blackhawks get Cody Ceci, and then they take Xavier Borgo for their trouble. I originally when I was going through this trade, I'm like, okay, how can I move goalies around? I was thinking, okay, let's move Picard to the Oilers and then get Forsberg to the Oilers or back to Picard to the Senators and then Forsberg to the Oilers and then the Blackhawks take on Jack Campbell and I'll be like, no, I don't think the Blackhawks would do that unless they are getting like multiple like a first and like a decent prospect.
They'd have to get a first to take it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way, honestly.
Cody CC seems more reasonable because he has 2 years left. That's Bedard's contract right there. And then I think Campbell would still have like 3 or 4 years after this one. So
for sure.
There you go. There's my first trade to start off. You think you can top that?
No, but I'll go big game hunting again since you went big game hunting.
Let's hear it.
So I couldn't decide who I wanted this team to trade for, and it's obvious because Mark Stone gets put on LTIR. You're gonna have some cap space to play with. So originally I was gonna say Gensel to Vegas, but the more I think about it, I don't think Gensel's getting traded. So
that's interesting.
I think Dubas is going to stick to his guns and try to make the playoffs, even if that's not the right decision to make. So I pivoted, and I said Buchnevich to Vegas. So, and I didn't not only Buchnevich, because I know they're in on Hannafin. I don't see that working. I'm going to say they pick up Marco Scandella as well with Pavel Buchnevich just to have some depth.
Fit him I mean, Buchnevich would fit him perfectly, but I mean, hey, it's worked out for Vegas before. They picked up Petrangelo in free agency, and they picked up Barbashev last year. So why not add another former Blue?
Dude, right? So then going to Pittsburgh, you'd have a 2024 first, Brendan Brisson, a 2025 conditional first, and then I kind of just left it up to whatever defensive prospect Vegas feels willing to give up.
Wouldn't it be St. Louis and not Pittsburgh, right?
St. Louis, yeah, my bad. I still had it as Pittsburgh for freaking Gensel. No. My bad. St. Louis. So St. Louis will be getting a 2024 first, Brendan Brisson, a conditional 2025 first if Vegas makes the cup final. And then if they don't make the cup final, that turns into a second. And then you have I put Daniel Chayka down as the defenseman. It could be any of them.
Mm-hmm.
It could be Cormier. It could be Korzak. I really don't know how they rank their
Yeah.
defensive prospects, but I don't know. I feel like that's a fair trade. It really just depends on if St. Louis thinks they're a playoff team, which they like to do a lot. But also, this is the same team that sold a year before they won the cup. So like,
Yeah,
I
I
could
was
see
gonna
them doing
say,
both.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, I have Vegas also making a move, but not for Buchnevich. I originally thought of it first. Yeah, again, just kind of go through my thought process of what I was doing. Like originally, I wanted to have like Buchnevich and Nick Leddy to go to Vegas, just so I could make the joke Nick Leddy is replacing
Alec
Alec
Martinez.
Martinez on the defense. Yeah, but alas, I did not do that. Yeah, Vegas, they don't really even have to, like, they're fine how they are, but the thing about Vegas is they make whatever they moves they want to because they want to. I mean, not because they necessarily need to. Like looking that 2020 free agency when they got Petrangelo. Yes, Petrangelo is an upgrade on Nate Schmidt, but did they really have to do that? No. But they got rid of Nate Schmidt anyways, and they signed Alex Petrangelo. Did they have to get Max Pacioretty? No, not really, but they did anyways, and they traded Nick Suzuki for it. Like, team does not care. They want to win. I mean, do they really need Buchnevich? No, they could probably do fine without him, but also why not get Pavel Buchnevich? He's a very good player. Um, could be most teams' first line winger, I think, and he's got another year left after this. And sorry, did you say that they retain any cap on him?
I don't. I'm just gonna say they take the full hit.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
they
don't.
have the money now to do it. So.
Yeah, I just don't see St. Louis as a team that wants to retain, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think Buchnevich has earned 2 firsts from just his
Oh, easily.
pedigree.
Yeah.
Like he's a 70-point player.
Mm-hmm.
That's his benchmark, basically.
He's underrated. Yeah.
Very underrated. Fantasy
Like the
god.
fact Like the fact he didn't even, like, when the Rangers traded him, he didn't even get a first round pick. What was it, Sammy Blaine a second? That's
Mm-hmm.
That's an underrated bad trade in the past couple years.
Right.
And another thing, when I originally did want to do a Vegas St. Louis thing. Another thing I thought, like, Samuel Blake would be a perfect Vegas goal night. I don't know. There's just something about him. I had
Facts.
to think about that, but yeah. I did want to go on to another Blackhawks trade I made, but I'm going to save that for next round. I want to go in keeping it on Vegas. I did make a trade with Vegas, but it was with a different team, and I kind of did it similar to how you did it. So I'm looking at Vegas is as cap friendly right now, and I'm seeing Jonathan Marchessault is off the books next year. I don't know if they're gonna re-sign him. He's a UFA, and same with Chandler Stevenson. And by the way, if Chandler Stevenson goes to free agency, I feel he'd be a perfect, like, player for Kyle Davidson to do a 6-time too, and also so I can get a Stevenson jersey, a Blackhawks jersey. But looking at that and looking at the fact that they have money to play with and will not only help them out this year but next year, what I did was I had the two newest franchises in the NHL trade with each other. So what I did was Vegas receives Yanni Gord, who after this year has one more year left at 5.167, modify no trade clause. I would think he would go to Vegas. Most players like Vegas, I think. And they also get Eli Tolvanen for 1 year at 1.45. He's an RFA. So not only do you get them for this year to play alongside of Chandler Stevenson and Jonathan Marchessault, if you can't re-sign one of them or both of them, there's your replacement. You got an annoying two-way center who can play up and down your lineup on any position with Yanni Gord and is playoff proven. Eli Tolvanen may not have the Conn Smythe postseason that Jonathan Marchessault had, but that's a guy who can score 20 goals and you have him under team control. He's not going to, I think, ask for a bunch. So there's that. And then kind of the same thing as you did. I gave the Kraken Brendan Brisson, Lucas Cormier, or really any other defenseman that they have in their system, because they do have a couple decent guys. From what I heard, like, they're kind of soured on Lucas Cormier. Like, he's been doing well, but he just kind of hasn't gotten the time because he's blocked on the depth chart, and then obviously the 2024 first round pick. So yeah, everyone's going to be healthy for Vegas come playoff time, and they're going to be able to ice this nasty team, and they're going to have like some kind. Okay, imagine putting Chandler Stevenson, Yanni Gord, and Mark Stone on the line. Like, yeah, have fun, and they might play the Oilers in the first round.
Oh yeah, dude. Seattle could be just such an interesting seller if they lose a couple more games in the next week. Like
Mm-hmm.
they have so many intriguing pieces. Like I'm looking, not even past that. I'm looking at like Brandon Tanev. I'm looking at Jordan
Yeah.
Eberle. I'm looking at Oliver Bjorkstrand. If you even want to go that far, like
Mm-hmm.
they have names that could be very intriguing
I
to me
feel you
right
could
there.
go any name sans like Dunn and Beniers,
Yeah, and maybe
probably.
McCann. Like
Yeah, yeah.
they're a very intriguing team. And as a matter of fact, my next trade involves the Kraken.
Let's hear it.
I went a different route. Mainly because I'm making a reunion happen. We're
Oh
sending
hell
Jordan
yeah.
Eberle to the Oilers. We're gonna we're gonna send him to go play with Connor McDavid in the playoffs. And to get Jordan Eberle over there, I'm thinking a 2024 first, Dylan Holloway, and a 2025 third. I don't know
Oh
how
shit.
high Edmonton is on Holloway, but I just see a guy who could play NHL games and someone that maybe Seattle could be high on. Like Holloway's basically just a placement piece for whatever prospect that team likes
Mm-hmm.
most. I just think Holloway would make a lot of sense because I don't think he has found a spot in Edmonton's lineup right now. And if Seattle clears up names, that could be a guy that's like low risk, high reward. And then also you're selling high on Eberle. I don't think you're going to extend him. And
No.
if you do, cool. But I don't think you should. Like I think that this team should be going in a younger direction. And it gives at like can't stress it enough. Edmonton needs depth scoring. Like that's just what it comes down to. Like Corey Perry was a solid pickup. I think that's gonna be great come playoff time, but that's not enough. And I think Jordan Eberle allows just such a nice flexibility in your middle six. You could move an Evander Kane to the third line. You could move a Ryan Nugent Hopkins to 3C. You could run McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins and not have a problem, which I think is a very underrated aspect come playoff time. I know they've been using Nuge as a winger a lot lately, but you get my drift.
Mm-hmm.
I think this could be a win-win for both teams. It gives Seattle an extra first in this year's draft, gives them more ammo to go get another forward and another defenseman. I don't know. I think it could be a win-win for both teams.
Yeah, I don't know what's with Holloway because I feel I've seen on Twitter like most Oilers fans are still high on them, so I'm not exactly sure what the temperature is with him. Like looking at his AHL numbers, very good. I just think it's another example. I think he's had injury issues as well, where he's dealing with that. He's still kind of young, still a little inconsistent, still figuring things out. I don't know if the Oilers maybe want to give up him quite yet, but yeah, like I think they want to trade their first round pick. They want to get forward help. So Jordan Eberle. So that makes total sense. I get that. Yeah.
And
Can
it's
you
not a
believe it?
yeah, it's not a big trade, but like I mean, I guess it is because they're trading it first, but I just feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's a trade that could really benefit Edmonton in ways that a lot of people aren't anticipating it to affect. Because like obviously he'd be great with McDavid, but like that's not why you get a Jordan Eberle. You know what I mean? You get a Jordan Eberle so you could not glue Draisaitl to someone or glue Nugent Hopkins to someone. You get that flexibility in your lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And I think your trade did the same with Tarasenko, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. So here is my I get well, this is really the only official Blackhawks trade. They're really just the third team and like, the cap dump facilitator.
Let's go.
Here here is a 1-for-1 old-fashioned hockey trade. Now, I'm still in the camp of give Lucas Reichel one more year. But I mean, the LA Kings are selling pieces off. I would do a Turcotte for Reichel swap. What do you think about that?
That was not where I thought that was going. Okay.
Where'd you think it was gonna go?
Uh, I just have a different idea of if we're gonna trade Reichel, but
All right, let's hear it. I want to hear it. I'm actually curious.
well, like if we're really gonna trade Reichel, I'm banging the drum to go get Trevor Zegras at the draft. Like trade that second
Yeah.
first, go trade Reichel, go get an actual
Uh-huh.
top six winger. Like, and I think Turcotte would be great. I just think we can get Turcotte without giving up Reichel. Maybe we
That's
can't. Who
true.
knows? But
Yeah.
I'd like it honestly. Like it give both players a fresh start, which they desperately
Yeah.
need.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I want to hear more about what you think about that trade, though. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, like, yeah, I would love Trevor Zegras. I don't know if they do that. I feel if they would do that, that's more like a draft trade.
Yep.
But yeah, and hell, they could even trade like one of their many seconds they have worth a few years, and maybe that will be enough to get it done. But I don't want to be like, ugh, Blackhawks trade a third round pick and get Alex Turcotte. He becomes a superstar. But looking at the Kings, they have a lot of centers, and like they have Kopitar. Obviously, he's not going to be around forever, but Byfield's going to be able to take over that spot. Like I really I would hope for the Kings' sake that Dubois bounces back, and like it kind of feels like and they still have Philip Deneau. It feels like Alex Turcotte is kind of blocked out of that. Um, I wasn't always the like I liked Alex Turcotte in his draft year, but I wasn't the biggest fan. I think the thing always with him was that he did everything so well, but he never had one, you know, trait that really stuck out with him. Maybe besides the skate, you know what? But he's kind of like Oliver Moore to me in a way. Like there's still that untapped potential, and maybe you bring him into Luke Richardson's system, new start. He's playing for his hometown team, the Chicago Blackhawks. Maybe that'll help rejuvenate him. Just looking at his stats in the AHL, like they're not bad this year. The Ontario Reign, 23 points, 30 games. Last year, 17 points, 32 games. And then, like, he's had put up decent numbers in the AHL. It's just, it feels like he hasn't really gotten a chance. Like, 8 games a couple years ago, last year, 4 games. And then this year, only 10 games. So, yeah, I'd maybe not Lucas Reichel. They might be able to do without Lucas Reichel, but I think just the idea of getting an Alex Turcotte, taking a chance on him. I think over the past couple of years, I've kind of leaned away from, this former top 5 pick is available. Let's go get him. But I feel you shouldn't just get that kind of player just for the sake of getting him. I think you should get it because his traits fit what could help your team, and he needs a new chance, and he's not getting the game. So that's where I'm coming from.
No, I agree 100%. I think the Hawks were actually in on Turcotte last deadline, if I recall correctly. Like there was a post about, I think it was Pagnotta that announced that, like, I think it was the Hawks and the Canucks were kicking tires on him, if I recall correctly. But
Yeah.
it'd be hilarious if you like go back in a time machine and go to 2019 U and it's like, yeah, so the Hawks ended up did end up getting Turcotte. It's like, oh, cool, they drafted him third. Oh no, buddy.
Oh,
They
that's
got
where
him
you're
a
wrong.
completely
Yeah.
different way. But
You just like put their arm around the shoulder. You're gonna have to sit down for this one, bud. And then you just
dude, but like I look at a move like that with Turcotte, and like I don't know if he's played majority center or wing in the minors, but
yeah, I don't know how that's worked
it would
out,
just
but
give
yeah.
the Hawks like you would have 3 cracks at that 2C already. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You'd have
Mm-hmm.
Turcotte, you'd have Nazar, you'd have Moore, and you just need one of them to be the 2C, and then the rest you can either kick to the wing or make one a 3C. Like that's the luxury that Davidson's trying to give himself. So I could definitely see it. I'd be a little unfortunate. I'd be a little bummed if it was Reichel going the other way, but
Yeah.
it's a business at the end of the day. And if they give Turcotte the minutes that he should get if they trade for him, then I'm okay with it. But if they trade
Mm-hmm.
for Turcotte and just throw him in Rockford, then like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like that's
Turcotte
my
better be
thought.
top 6
Mm-hmm.
minutes, top power play with Bedard. Like, you can't BS this if you're going to trade Reichel for him. You
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure that works. That's why I
Yeah.
feel that's why I feel more comfortable if you're trading Reichel for someone who's already proven he can score in the NHL. Like as
Mm-hmm.
much shit as Zegras gets, he's got back-to-back 65-point seasons. Like he knows how to produce in the NHL.
Yeah.
That's just where my mindset comes with the Reichel thing. I love Turcotte though. I can't stress that
Mm-hmm.
enough. Like I was the biggest Turcotte truther when he was coming out of the draft, and well, we all know how wrong I was there, but
I was a Bowen Byram truther, and I mean he's had so many peaks and valleys. Like I know he's had really he's had concussion issues, and like he won a Stanley Cup, and then he's had good numbers, and I saw this year he has horrible numbers. So yeah, 5 years from that draft, I mean, Jack Hughes is a superstar, but you look at Capo Caco, he hasn't been great in the Rangers. Number 3, Kirby Dacco, we obviously know
Caco's low-key
how that.
another one I wouldn't mind trading Reichel for.
Yeah, I would have said Lafreniere last year, but it feels like he's kind of finally
They
starting
they
to.
could
Yeah.
have got Lafreniere last year if they tried. Like honestly, they really could have, and I still
Mhm.
wish they did. But
Yeah.
it's okay. It's
Oh,
okay.
Lafreniere and Bedard would have been. Oh my lord,
Oh, it would have
sweet
been so much fun.
Jesus!
It would have been Loft, fucking Bedard, and Taylor Hall in a perfect world. Yeah, that would have been a fun line. That would have been a fun line. But
What could have been?
yeah,
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe they just glued Turcotte to Bedard's wing. Like that could be fun.
yeah. Well, that's going to be the reality. Like you bring up them, like not all of the centers they draft are going to be wingers. Like you might move Oliver Moore to the wing, you might move Frank Nate, you might move both to the wing, and then maybe you draft Kane Lindstrom and you glue him to Bedard's wing. Like I like the idea of them drafting centers, and then not all of them are going to be centers, but maybe one or
Yeah,
two of
Patrick Kane
them.
was a center once upon a time. Like this happens, bro. Like you could be. I think
It's still a
Marner.
rotating door. Yeah.
I think Marner was a center in junior. Like it just happens
Hmm.
like that, and then you find out, oh wait, I'm a way better winger in the NHL.
Hmm.
And like you said, I think one of these guys they picked is like for some reason in my head, I just see Oliver Moore's speed on the wing, and I just think
Yeah.
that's going to be a problem. And I think Nazar plays a better game down the middle, in my opinion. Like the way he sees the ice, I don't think that would be good on the as good on the wing. I like his flexibility in the middle.
Yeah, we're at the point now with the Blackhawks. Like we know they're not going to really do anything this trade deadline, at least not sell. But now we're at the
Jared
point
Tenorti
of
for a second, baby. Get excited.
to the Panthers. I
Let's
had that written
go.
down. No, but we're starting to get to that point where they need to start adding. And I mean, Lucas Reichel for Turcotte, I don't think that's really adding. But I mean, you trade one of those seconds for Alex Turcotte, absolutely, you do that.
100%, dude. They have so
And then
many picks at their disposal, and not all
I
those
know.
guys are going to make the NHL.
And I think once you get to the draft and you have a better picture of like, man, if Tampa, I don't think Tampa's gonna miss the playoffs, but like if they lose in the first round again and they're pick 19 like last year, you're telling me like you couldn't trade him, like trade that pick, maybe another second, and then I don't know Reichel, but like maybe just another depth for you, and then you get Trevor Zegras. Like I feel that's where they really make their big moves, but I feel you can make a little one here with Alex Turcotte.
Yeah, it'd be a fun trade for sure. Like that got my brain running about like different avenues that could work for the Blackhawks. So I'd be game for it. I think you've talked me into it now.
Hell yeah. Let's go. We're back on the Turcotte bandwagon 5 years later.
Still here. The
Yeah.
party's over and he's still dancing or whatever the hell that means. Or the
Everyone
party's
left
over
an
and he's
hour
still
ago.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next trade, I guess I'll go a little smaller. This guy's gonna get traded at the deadline, like he has to. He's one of the best available centers. I got Adam Henrique going to the Rangers, and I think
Yeah.
half retained for a conditional first round pick. And if they make the conference final, comes a first. If it doesn't, it's a second. And then they get a 2026 third because they don't have a third till 2026. I don't think Henrique's going to get this. Like Sean Monahan got a first. I get that. But maybe it's not a conditional first. Maybe the Rangers just say F it and throw a first. But like, I don't know, man. I just don't
feel
see
with
Sorry.
I was gonna say I feel with Lindholm and Monahan, there's the fact that okay, they're not, like Henrique's a little older. Like Lindholm and Monahan, they're both. I think they both won the same draft. They're former top 10 picks. Where it's like, okay, we're getting these guys that are in their late 20s, have had good seasons before, and we're gonna trade a first round pick for them. Whereas Adam Henrique, there really isn't that. I guess what I don't know what the right word.
It's not
would
someone
be.
you would be looking to extend. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
They could.
exactly.
Who knows? But I wouldn't. So I don't know. Just a smaller trade. I think it would help. Rangers are best team in the NHL at the moment. But
that's crazy. It feels like that's been switching like every few days. Who's leading the President's Trophy race?
Parity, baby, parity. But I just think that with especially with Hedel having the injury that he had, they really need a good 3C just to give them that flexibility with the three lines. And Henrique has proven he can play with the top players in the lineup. He can play on the third line. He's a very flexible player, which I feel like a lot of people don't take into account when you trade for like last year, whenever it was like, oh, Max Domi had like 50 points or whatever. He's going to be great on the Stars. It's like, guys, he's not getting 18, 19 minutes a night anymore when he's on the Stars. But Henrique has shown that flexibility. And the other thing is Henrique's a playoff performer. I know people forget it because most people were like 10 when it happened, but he is a playoff performer.
I mean, Rangers fans out of anyone would know that.
Ranger fans, Panther fans, like everyone, bro.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about the Panthers one.
That
That
guy's
is
a
true.
legend killer, bro. And you put him on your team for the playoffs. I don't know, man. I'd
might have
want
to
that kind of
face-
playoff performer on my team.
They might have to face the Panthers too. How about that? 12 years later,
Panther
Adam
killer.
Adam Henrique went on his Martin Jelena run. Bring that back to the 04 Flames. I think Martin Jelena had three series winners all on the way to the cup final. Had the overtime winner against the Canucks in round 1. I think it was the Red Wings round 2, the Sharks round 3, and had that goal went in against Tampa Bay. That would have been Martin Jelena who scored the goal and ultimately won the cup for them. So that's the Martin Jelena run, is you score series winner for every round. It's funny, Adam Henrique to the Rangers. That would be like the Blackhawks getting Alec Martinez.
I still think that happens at some point. Like in
Low
Vegas,
key, I would like, yeah.
I really did think Vegas is going to dump us Martinez at some point in that contract.
I think
but it
he's a
doesn't look like it's
UFA
gonna
this year,
happen.
but I still think the Blackhawks would actually sign him though, just for like a 1-year thing.
David and your son, don't do it. Actually, do it. It'd be funny, but
It would
it'd
be
be funny
funny.
until he's taking minutes from some kid. Like it's like, oh, Del Mastro's ready to play in the NHL, but we have to play Alec Martinez 60 games.
Yeah, we need. He needs to get his contract bonus. Yeah,
Yeah, like
government mandated ice time, Alec Martinez.
like it's
for
all
2
fun and
years.
games until that happens. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and like luckily with like their forwards, they're not going to have that problem for a while. That's
God.
good.
Oh, there's that.
Oh man.
And if anything for the defenseman, that's worked out. Like we've seen what an extra year in Rockford could do, like what that did for Vlasic, and Kaiser's really started to find his game in Rockford. Like he's leading them in minutes and playing all situations.
He's a
and
minute eater.
yeah, he just munches up all those minutes.
Mhm.
So yeah, my next trade, Dallas Stars acquire from the Pittsburgh Penguins Jake Gensel, and Pittsburgh Penguins receive Craig Smith just to balance out the books. Pittsburgh eats half of Gensel's salary cap, and they trade Maverick Bork and a 2024 first round pick.
I was like, you don't have the balls to give him Stankoven. You're giving him Maverick Bork.
No, that's there. He's going to the Blackhawks for when we take on Ryan Suter's contract.
Of course. And then they get Taylor Radish. Please take him. Please. Please.
Please,
Please.
This is not this is an order, not a request.
Yeah, I'm begging at this point.
Jim,
Jesus.
no. We should have said that to him when we should have gone down the draft floor when he was at the draft accepting his GM of the Year award and be like, if you were a true GM of the Year award, you would trade a Stankoven. Hey, we'll take back Ryan Suter's contract to make it worth the worthwhile. But hey, there's this guy who scored 20 goals. I think he would fit in perfectly on your hockey team for pretty cheap.
Oh, what's
But
that?
yeah.
He scored all those goals years ago? Oh, anyways.
Oh no, anyways. Oh, he's here now. Oh, we signed the papers. Oh no.
Oh no! You got the guy who
went
won points since
through.
Christmas. Oh no!
Oh my god.
Anyways, yeah. What about so Jake Gensel on the Stars.
What is Taylor Radish hasn't scored a goal since is it
Dude,
he
Christmas? Sucks. Like I thought I was being a jerk early in the year, but no, he sucks. Like
no.
There's no like I never thought we'd get to the point where I'd rather they extend Kachuk, but I've been there for like 3 months now. Like it's crazy. Kachuk's got more points to do, and he had a Rockford stint this year. Like, come on, bro.
He was on freaking waivers.
But yeah, Lucas Reichel can't be in the NHL because Taylor Radish needs 15 minutes a night to do nothing, bro. He doesn't even do cardio. It's crazy.
No. Yeah. I was gonna say, can we even call him a cardio merchant? He does
no, because he doesn't even skate. It's like imagine how much more useful of a player he would be if he actually used his frame. It'd be crazy. But he wants to play like he's 5'9", but he's 6'3". It's fucking great. Whatever. Yeah, Gensel on the Stars would be nasty. Like glue him to Hintz and Robertson, and let's just see the magic happen. Or put him with Sagan. I feel like that could be fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dallas Stars, I would say at worst are top 5 ran organization in the NHL. You can make arguments that they're the best ran, or like just the amount of depth they have everywhere. Like, man, that 2017 draft is so
It's an all
ridiculous.
timer. It's an all
It,
timer.
it really is. It's one of the all-time great drafts. I wouldn't even say in hockey. Like, I would say sports. Like, how many teams across sports have gotten that kind of draft? That's
It's
crazy.
so rare, dude. It's so
Yeah.
rare. The most recent thing I can think of is like the Seahawks 2 years ago drafted like 5 starters. That's the closest I can think of.
And it's not even like they had the first overall pick and like another top 15 pick. Like they had I think the third overall pick with Heiskanen, but then they had, I think, a late 20s pick. That's where they got Andre, and then they got Jason Robertson in the early second round. Like, unbelievable. But yeah, back to it. Like, it shows you how well Dallas has been built up that they now have Logan Stankoven, and he's just, they just have him, Their first line is still Robertson, Hintz, and Pavelski. It looks like Tyler Seguin is out. I'm just looking at daily faceoffs lines right now. But yeah, I would assume like once Sagan gets back, you might go like Marchment, Sagan, and Gensel. Because right now you got Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnson, and Logan Stankoven, which is disgusting. Ew. And then fourth line they have Delandro, Faxa, and Smith. But yeah, they can, once Sagan gets back, they can move all that around. Yeah, they traded for Chris Tanev yesterday, and then their defensive pairings are Thomas Harley and Mir. That's another thing. Like, Miro Heiskanen was out. It's like, oh no, we'll just have to promote Thomas Harley and make him a top pairing defenseman. And yeah, they do have Ryan Suter on their defense, but like Issa Lindell and Tanev, I feel that could work as a good shutdown pairing. And then
But
Suter and
Issa
Lundqvist,
Lindell's bad,
whatever.
remember? Like, I'll take Lindell in a heartbeat, bro. The fact that they don't,
Oh,
like,
and
that's how you know your team's good. Let's just put it that way.
yeah. Oh, and Tyler Sagan is out. So is Evgeny Donov. That's another play. Like, god
They're
damn,
gonna be
man.
deep,
They're
bro.
so,
They're gonna
they
be
are.
deep, and they still and like they picked up Duchesne this year. Like
Mm-hmm.
they
Sam
are
Steele,
ready.
yeah.
They are ready. Just like like everyone's talking about like Jason Robertson regression. It's like, nah, bro. He's just gonna fucking regress back to the mean when it matters most in the playoffs. And then Joe Pavelski still doesn't age. Like
Oh
it's
yeah, all-time
it.
playoff performer too. One of the
They're still
best.
my cup pick. They've been my cup pick
Mm-hmm.
since the offseason. I don't care. Like, this has to be the year they break through. If they don't, then, well, that's unfortunate. We'll just go at it
Man,
next year.
they're set up to go for, yeah. They're so good, and yeah, they just ran into the buzzsaw Vegas last year.
They've run into
Like
a
that.
buzzsaw a couple times, if we're being honest. They ran into
Mm-hmm.
Tampa 2 years ago in the cup final.
That's true. I think it's because it was in the bubble, but people forget like they were 2 wins away from a Stanley Cup.
Dude, they dominated Vegas. People forget that. They beat Colorado. Like, this is a team
Mm-hmm.
that has proven they could beat every team in the West, which I feel like which gets understated, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, you have more faith in Vancouver this year. I don't.
No,
Like, the
they
only
have
team
done.
yeah,
I was
like
gonna say they have done everything but win a Stanley Cup.
bingo. And I feel like it's got to happen eventually. It's like the apps; they're just itching at the surface, trying to get
Yeah,
there.
I've been saying like it's so wide. Like I could easily see Vegas repeating. I could see the Oilers finally breaking through, but same thing with Dallas. I think Dallas, if they add Gensel and they get healthy, and maybe they make another trade for like another depth defenseman, yeah, I feel we could start talking about them as putting them in the tier. Like this team needs to break through. Like this is their year. They need to win, and I think they could do it.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Like the West is wide open as it always is. I feel, but
Mm-hmm.
man, if they could just knock on wood, stay healthy, golden, bro. Telling you.
And we ain't talking Knights. Um, so that's 4 trades I've gone through already. I would assume this is your last one, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
this one, it's probably my lamest trade, honestly, and it's probably the most realistic, which is unfortunate. It's the most bought. Like, okay, so I originally wanted to do Vladimir Tarasenko to the Bruins, but I'm just like, I don't see Ottawa
Oh,
trading him in the division, even if they get a good
yeah.
haul. So,
That's
I went a different
interesting.
route. Can never be too deep on defense, so why not get the best one on the market? I got Noah Hannafin going to the Bruins,
Come
and
on. That's not boring. Like that's a cool trade. Like Hannafin going to his hometown Bruins.
I just feel like it's gotten mocked a lot. You know what I mean? Like it seems
Yeah.
like it's such a Don Sweeney move. Like this is like
Yeah.
Hampus Lindholm all over again,
Mm-hmm.
except that
I
he's a
don't know
little
if I've
bit
seen it
better,
that much to
honestly.
be honest. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Lindholm, yeah.
sorry. So basically what I have for the trade is They would be trading a 2025 first because they don't have their 2024 first.
Yeah.
They'd be trading
Number
Mason
2, I'm pretty
Lorai,
sure.
Matt Grizzlick just to make the cap work, and
Yeah.
then a 2025 third as well. So you could do the third conditional to where they could get a 2026 second, but I just feel like this is one of those trades where Boston could just load their defense up, and their top four would then be McAvoy, Hannafin, Lindholm, Carlo, and then you have Shattenkirk and Forbert. And I just think that's a nasty defense to have come playoff time.
That's so funny that Shattenkirk and Forbert are it's the Bruins, man. And by the way, they're leading the Vegas 3-0 right now. Can you guess who scored the goal?
Morgan Geeky. I don't know.
Yeah, Morgan Geeky has 2 goals. Can you guess who scored the other one?
Well, you're laughing, so it's got to be someone funny. Let's just go Shattenkirk. Yes. I don't know.
No. But Jesper Boqvist has one of them.
Just like the 2 pickups that like every team was like, oh, they have good analytics. You should probably go get them. And Boston's like, yeah, we'll go get them, and we'll get them for 3 years, so we have the $2 million for the rest. Like Don Sweeney, man, GM of the year every year. And then and I know they haven't won a cup since 2011, but like. There's only as a GM, there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? And he puts this team in a position every effing year.
They're competitive. They've been competitive pretty much every year for the last 15 years.
Since they got Pasternak, 100%. Mm-hmm. Like it's insane. Like they had like a 2-year slump where they missed the playoffs, and then they came right back into the mix.
Yeah, but that's the years they got. I mean, yeah, they fucked up the 2015 draft, but then they made up for it with McAvoy.
Oh no, they only got Charlie McAvoy and David Pasternak. Yeah, give me a break.
They and Jacob David Russ, like. The best of those pick has been all right too. Like
they're fine, dude. They're fine.
And just looking at they're 34, 12, and 14. Like they have lost so many overtime and shit.
Dude, and they had like a down month in January too, which is the funny part.
Yeah, I think they're fine.
Yeah, they're definitely fine. But yeah, that's my trade. I just it's something light on both sides. I don't think Hannafin would extend in Boston, which is mainly why I didn't make the package bigger. It's kind of like the Lindholm thing. And I think Mason Lorai would, like Calgary has proven they want to get defensive prospects. And I think this would be one that would, like you get Lorai and Grushnikov. Is that how you say his name? Grushnikov, the one they got from Dallas. Like you just got a whole pairing in your trades.
Yeah, you got
potentially.
Yeah.
And Lorai's proven he can play in the NHL.
Lorai. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's my last trade. Something light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Hannafin, I think he could resign there being a Boston boy. And I remember they wanted to trade up. The Bruins did want to trade up and get him in that 2015 draft. Like they were going to package all those picks they had in the middle of first round and just trade it, I think, for number 3 and then pick Hannafin, but that never happened. So it's like one of those like kind of like we talked with Turcotte. It's like it's full circle. It finally happened. Who they could have picked, they go back to their hometown. So, to wrap things up, I think this is my most interesting trade. Like we know the Oilers are going to go big. Like I would say the Turcotte one is kind of interesting. Like we know the Stars are going to go big too, and same with the Golden Knights. But I feel this team is not being talked enough. Like they're comfortably in a playoff spot after missing the playoffs. I think it's been 8 years now, and the Yzer plan is finally coming together. Everything is paying off. They are second. They're in the first wild card spot, and they have an 8-point lead. Like Tampa's behind them with 59 points or 69 points. Nice, sorry, but they played 2 more games to them, and then the next team closest is the Devils. So I think the Red Wings comfortably, barring some crazy collapse, are going to make the playoffs. And I think Steve Yzerman has to recognize, and I think he will recognize that. Not only is this team gearing for the playoffs, but it's so wide open. Like, get a player that can help you. And I think this is my most interesting trade. So hear me out here. We talked about the Red Wings Blackhawks game and seeing Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane story and how much that was a stab to the heart. I'm going to twist the knife even more.
I know.
Detroit Red Wings. Yeah. Do you know where I'm going?
I think I do. Just rip the Band-Aid off, please.
Okay. They're trading from Arizona, your boy, Biggie Schmaltz. They're going to get Nick Schmaltz and Nick Bjugstad. And then the Arizona Coyotes are going to get Simon Edvinsson.
Holy shit. Okay.
I know. I know. I know. I'm
I
looking.
need a second. Hold on. Okay.
Oh, I need a second.
No, because like that's a crazy trade. So like
I know.
not only are they getting Nick Schmaltz and Nick Bukestad, which I think just makes their forward core like 15 deep at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You're also trading Simon Edmondson, which I feel like is just a crazy thing. Like I just if Stevie Y is gonna do that, I would hope he's getting a defenseman in return. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like Schmaltz and I don't fucking know. They don't have any good
I was
demon on
thinking
there.
like Sean. I was thinking Sean Dursey, but then I look at their defense. Like their defense is pretty deep too. So
Maybe it's a prospect. I don't know, but
yeah,
it, trade would be fucking nuts. It would give Detroit probably one of the nasty center cores going into the playoffs. You'd have to
that's
think
from.
like what is that? What that means? One of Comfer or Cop is fourth line, or you're moving one of them to the wing. Like that's a great luxury to have come playoff time, especially winning faceoffs in specific situations. You'll have someone for the left, you'll have someone for the right circle. Like it's
Yeah. Versatility.
yeah, and then you just make the Blackhawks epic line from like 2018.
Yeah.
So I honestly thought you were gonna say Strome. That was what I really thought you were gonna say. And then
hey.
which like it's the same shit, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That'd be fucking sick. And Schmaltz would actually get to play playoff hockey again
Mm-hmm.
because you know
Yeah, that's
he
right.
played 4
I
games
don't
that
think he
one
even
time.
got. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even think he played for the Coyotes when they made it to the bubble. Like, he was
Yeah, but he
injured for
did for
that.
the Blackhawks when they got swept by the
Yeah,
the
that's right.
Preds. So
Jesus,
yeah, that was a fun one.
that's 7 years ago now, though. Almost as long as the Red Wings playoff drought. But no, I genuinely like the Red Wings story. Like they seem like a good underdog. I don't know if the Red Wings would ever trade Simon Edmondson because I know they think the world of him, and that them getting just Schmaltz and Bukestad, like I feel they could get more. Maybe you could throw a Dursey in there just to like get more depth for your defense. But man, getting Nick Schmaltz, who has been very underrated, you would know, like two more years at 5.85 after this year.
Can't beat
Yeah,
it.
you're losing. Yeah. Nick Bukestad just gives you again so much versatility, so much depth. I'm looking at their forward core. I mean, DeBrincat, Larkin, and Kane. That's nasty, but like you can maybe put Schmaltz there and then have a Rasmussen, Larkin, Raymond second line, and then like Andrew Kopp, David Perron's on you. Like it gives them so much depth. And even losing Edvinson, you still have. They drafted Sandine Pelika. They still have William Wallinder. Like it's not like they're going to be hurting if they do trade Simon Edvinson, but
Mhm.
I don't know if they would ever trade Edvinson, but I mean, you can't put it past Steve Eiserman to make like a sneaky big balls move like this, and I think that's exactly what it is.
It's definitely a Stevie Y move, that's for sure. And Schmaltz has proven he can play wing too, so that gives you even more flexibility.
Mm-hmm. You can do whatever the
So,
hell you want, really.
yeah, that would be a very fun trade to see, to say the least. I just love to see how they would utilize him. You know, like I don't like. I would think they'd use him as a second line center, but also like I could see them throwing him on the wing with Larkin and that just being disgusting. So, like
Yep.
that's just the beauty of a player like Nick Schmaltz. He can play anywhere, and we talk
Shout
about
out
this with
2014 draft.
talk about this with the Hawks all the time. Like we want more players like that. We want players who can play center, play wing, play left, play right. Like
Mm-hmm.
you want that flexibility once you get to a certain point in your lineup. And I feel like the Red Wings have done a very good job of having a very good mix of players to where even if there is an injury, it hasn't really affected them so far. Knock on wood. Because like if
Mm-hmm.
like a Larkin or a Kane or a Sider or DeBrincat or Raymond gets hurt, that's gonna affect them. But
Yeah.
you make this trade, it might not affect them. So
And
I
kind of to
like it.
further your point, like how the Red Wings have that kind of like where you have guys that can play center wing. Look at the Oilers. Like, I mean, you have Draisaitl playing the wing. Like, I mean, that's another level of unfair. But you look at Dallas, they have Joe Pavelski playing the wing, but you can move him to center. Like, they have a bunch of centers they play on the wing. And I mean, Vegas, like, I think Chandler Stevenson played on the wing. Like Ivan Barbashev play on the wing. Those both can both play center. Same with Brett. Like, they have so much positional versatility, and I think that's what the Blackhawks are trying to do as well.
100%, dude. It'll be fun. I feel like it's a good one to end on because like Detroit is definitely the team to watch come deadline because like they could do nothing and it would make sense, but also like man, it'd be cool to reward this core for like they've been
Yeah.
really good these last couple months. Like And they fixed their defensive game too a little bit, which I thought was a big worry. Like, yeah, they're still like they ended up getting hemmed by the Blackhawks. It looked like on Sunday, but like,
Oh yeah, like kind of going back to we're gonna go crazy with the game. Like I mean, there's not much to talk about, but like I think that's one of the few games where this year where the Blackhawks have played a legitimately good team that's in the playoff hunt and look better than them and probably deserve that win, honestly. But it's really just looking at it from objective hockey fans, almost poetic how like DeBrincat tied in and then Patrick Kane on a breakaway showtime and him taunting the crowd, but the crowd loved it, obviously. Like,
dude, I'm driving to Atlanta for my work meeting, and I'm
yeah,
like talking to my coworker. I'm like, "Hey, can you check the score real quick?" And then
yeah.
the guy in the back goes, "Kane got the overtime winner." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! No way!" Oh my god! And like in your heart, you just knew it was gonna fucking happen.
Oh, I know.
Like,
As
you
soon
just
as I saw
fucking
it,
knew it.
yeah,
Ugh.
like you could script it. Like as soon as I saw DeBrincat score, I'm like, there's no way Patrick Kane. Like it's either one or two. Like, Bedard's gonna get the goal or Patrick Kane, and obviously went Patrick Kane.
And Bedard almost did get a goal if it didn't go off Nick
Yeah, I
Leddy's
know.
elbow. So, or not Nick.
Did you
Not
see him
Nick
like
Leddy, Nick Foligno.
Nick Leddy? I'm like, oh
That's the
no.
name of my fantasy team.
Yeah, I know that. That's what I was like.
Where do we know that
Hold
from?
on. Wait. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really curious to see how they play tonight because they played well against the Avs last time. So I'm
They
hoping they
played
put
the
up
Avs just about as well as you can play them, honestly.
and it's at
With
home.
that team.
Should be a good one. Dude, they're 15, 39, and 5. All right, let's play a game. Do the Blackhawks get the 20 wins this year? I say no.
I think they do, but barely. Like,
Dude, they need 5
record
wins
last
in
year?
like 30 games. I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's plausible at this point. As bad as that fucking sounds, I don't think. Okay, no, they have 23 games to win 5 games. That is not plausible. I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's
okay,
not.
now that you bring that up, that's
It's
a little
not.
more. Yeah.
When's the last time a team had less than 20 wins in the NHL? And it wasn't a shortened season.
You know what?
I'm
I'm
going
gonna
to
kind of
look
look through all that right now. Yeah. What did they have
Worst
last year? They
record
had
in
one
NHL
25,
history.
right?
The Red Wings had 20 that one. Okay, so the worst record's 867 and 5. So they're not beating the Capitals, but that was like 1975. That doesn't count.
That's another game. That is another
Sharks had
lifetime ago.
71 losses. Okay, worst record to make the playoffs. This is why the NHL doesn't exist. The Leafs made the playoffs 21, 49, and 10. What?
When was that?
1987? Like, what
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
fuck
say that
is
had to have been the
this?
80s, but like over half the league made the playoffs. I'm pretty sure because there's less teams, and they still did 16.
Okay. All right, so here's like probably the most recent team to suck that bad. Okay, so the Red Wings went 17, 49, and 5 in the COVID shortened year, like the 70 game one.
The
And
Avs had a
then
stinker. I think it was 16, 17. They had a stinker of a year, but then they came back and made the
yep.
playoffs next year. So
Oh man, dude, these are rough. I'm looking at them and like the Thrashers had 14 wins in 2000. St. Louis went 21, 46, and 15 in 2006. And then, look at that. So literally the Sharks and the Blackhawks are like neck and neck for like top 50 worst team of all time. It's pretty epic.
Even last
Yeah.
year,
2022 Canadians made the list. 22. I don't even think they can get the 22, 49, 11. That's how bad the Hawks are this year, man. Jesus. That 6 weeks without Bedard fucking killed this team's chances of 20 wins.
Oh,
bro.
yeah. Any chance of like them just like, we might hit 25. Yeah.
Not a fucking chance,
Yeah.
bro. Not a fucking chance. Oh my gosh. And like
Yeah.
they need to make moves this offseason. I can't even stress this. You can't have this happen next year. You just fucking can't. There are so many long-term fucking circumstances that get affected if you suck this bad next year. I don't care if you get number one. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
yeah, piss off your generational talent by sucking religiously. That worked out so well for the Sabres. Sorry, like I'm looking at it didn't really hit me how bad they've been this year, but like, dude, you can't be this bad next year. You just fucking can't. There's no
I feel
way.
like we're getting to that point of the year where things are starting to solidify, and it's like, oh, there's only 20 games left, and then you're seeing the points of certain players. Like, oh, like Matthews already hit 50. Like we're starting to see like things are starting to kind of be set in place, and then reality is setting in. No, this team might not even get 20 wins. Last year they had 26. Like,
yep, I remember. I was like, they had one less win than they did the year before. If they get to 25 wins, that means they That means Bedard was on a 2-point a game pace. And Peter
Yeah.
Mrazek is putting up
I
a
mean,
930
hey,
every
I ain't
night.
gonna complain. Like,
Dude, that happens. I'm laughing my way all the way to the draft this year.
dude,
But
like the Senators already have 25 wins and they're 6 last. Worst case scenario, like if again if we're doing that game of we want them to get the worst odds, they still win 10 games before the end of the season. Like they're still having and they're in the bottom 5 still. Like that's how far behind they
yeah,
are right
I
now.
quite literally can't stress enough. They are locked into a top 4 pick. And I think I've said that for over a month now. Like there's an 8-point gap between them and the Ducks for third last.
Yeah, it's
like,
similar to the Sharks, and even the Sharks, like less games played, 2 less games played, same amount of points.
Yeah, it's bad, dude. Not much else to say about it besides it's really bad. But
yeah, I'm gonna be optimistic. I think they had 20, but only 20. Like that's all they'll get.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I'm a okay. Well, you know what? Let's dive into this a little deeper. Let's see who they play for the rest of the year. No, I'm curious. This is crazy.
No. Not the wins. Who could they play spoiler to? Who could they do what they did to Pittsburgh last year?
All right,
this year?
let's take a gander.
I think that's the more fun game.
Okay, so they play Colorado tonight. That'd be fun. They play Columbus Saturday. Please win. Then they play Colorado and Arizona. They play Washington. They play Arizona again. They play Anaheim. Yeah, okay, they're getting 20 wins. They play Anaheim twice. What the fuck? And San Jose. If you don't get 20, okay, dude, literally their March schedule is. Why couldn't we get this earlier in the year? They play San Jose twice, Anaheim twice, Ottawa. Like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But okay, so in terms of spoiler, they play LA.
Here's an interesting one. Yeah, I was gonna say 15th March. They host the Kings. That would be interesting, especially
they play LA 3 times then the year. So they can play spoiler against Carolina. They can play spoiler against Vegas. They can play spoiler against Nashville. They can play spoiler against the Islanders.
Nashville would be if they could beat Nashville and knock them out of the playoffs, and they miss the playoffs by 1 point because please God, please let that happen. It would be so funny.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Also the Flyers. I think they could play spoiler there too. But yeah,
for me, the Kings, it would be nice to see, especially the Predators, if they could do
3 games against the Kings. You got to win at least one of those just to start fucking with them, or you win 2 or 3, and then it gets really funny. But okay, yeah, 20 wins might not be out of reach, but also like, I'm
not a guarantee. That's for
not
sure.
a guarantee, but like. In my biased head, I see winnable games in Ottawa. I see winnable games with both San Jose games. I see winnable games with both Anaheim games, and I see a winnable game against Washington. So, because Washington will be sold off by then, and Calgary too, because for some reason they play Calgary. Yeah. So, there's winnable games on this list. And it really annoys the crap out of me that it took till March of the season to get these games, but we're here. Like, what was it? Sal in the group chat was just like, when do they play the Sharks? It's like, yeah, they just don't. We're gonna play the whole Eastern Conference to start the year. Like,
run the gauntlet. I mean, they beat the Penguins, but then they had to play the friggin' Bruins and
twice in a week, bro. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? It's such a stupid.
And they didn't even play them that badly. Like, they took back.
No, they played them really well. They just couldn't score.
April 2nd, New York Islanders. Though I think the Islanders are kind of out of it.
There's gonna be some good ones in there though, for sure. Hopefully they can play spoiler, like you said though, because that would make it a lot more interesting.
April 10th, Blackhawks Blues. I mean, if the Blue,
please let's knock them out again.
Like, from 2018, and they were down 3-1 in that game.
I need it so bad, please.
And then,
who's gonna be the Blake Hillman this year? Is it Isaac Phillips? Or is it Louis Crevier?
Nolan Allen is going to come up and
let's go! Yes! Nolan Allen debut gets a freaking shorty. Like that, please. Let's speak that into existence.
And he'll forever be better than Logan Stankoven because of it.
Dude, Stankoven's so sick, though.
I know.
What, 3 games, 2 that goals. One? Like, come on, guys. Who could have foreseen the guy who was putting up 100 points in junior was going to be good? I don't know.
Dude,
Pierce, personally, I thought he was short, so I don't think he was going to be good.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Like, he slings that shit like DeBrincat. Sorry, it's crazy.
I know. That's what I saw in the draft year, like, is DeBrincat, like, a lot of comparisons, and it's just, Man, I ain't perfect. Like I've done scout. Like I've been paying attention to the class and like the draft class in depth since 2018. Like I haven't, been perfect, but man, like I feel like I've been right more often than not, and I feel that enough should be alone for me. Like should get me an NHL front office. Like
This is Pierce's pitch to be an NHL scout.
yeah,
I was
like
more right about first round picks than you, bud. Give me the
yeah.
job.
Like, but legitimately though, 2018, I was a huge Noah Dobson fan. Look how that's worked out. I like
I was a
Bouchard too.
Bouchard
Like they could have
truther.
gone
Yeah, I
Bouchard.
was a Bouchard truther. I was like, that's
Like
Seabrook.
any both of us, man. Like
Yeah.
either one, we would have been more right. Yeah. I mean,
Freaking
2019 is kind of interesting. Like
Dawson Mercer.
2020, yeah, Dawson Mercer, yeah. I mean, 2021, Logan Stankoven.
Yeah,
But,
you
20,
have,
but like,
nothing is worse than seeing our collective reactions. You're like,
oh,
please get
God.
Stankoven, please get Stankoven, it will make this day so much better.
I heard WHO, and then Prince L Raiders. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, all of
And
us just
then
look confused as shit. I remember
yeah.
Q sent me the reaction clip and I started dying laughing. I was like,
I want to,
oh, it's an
dude.
all-time clip.
Those podcasts from that summer were just everything that was happening with the team.
Oh,
Like,
it was
I'm so
hell.
glad.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
hell.
it was. I'm glad we moved on from that.
Oh, it was
As
hell,
much
dude.
as
Every
it's
time covering the Hawks, it was 30 minutes of just like, I hate this. This sucks.
yeah. I
There's
honestly,
nothing good going on.
I prefer covering a team that's barely going to get 20 wins. Might not even get 20 wins this year. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, they might not get 20 wins, but at least like even then this year they've had fucking problems. Like let's not pretend the Corey Perry situation
Yeah.
didn't fucking happen this year. Like
Yeah.
never ain't no rest for the wicked with this team, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not
It's
to,
okay.
to
Immaculate
downplay any
celebrating
of
will be
that.
nice compensation. I really just want to see that happen to see the whole league get pissed. Like I know I wasn't even
Oh,
saying get Bedard last year, but now I want to see him get celebrated. Just start fucking with everyone.
it's the cherry on top if they do. I mean, if they don't, whatever. Like
If they
I'm
do,
really
oh no,
comfortable.
we're only gonna
Yeah.
get Caden Lindstrom or Ivan Demidov. Damn it. Or
Yeah.
Silyev or Levshinov or whoever they fucking prefer.
Or Zane Perrick. I believe that's how you say his name. We're gonna do a prospect profile on him next. I was
Kevin
gonna say something, but I
Shattenkirk
don't know.
reincarnated, Zane Perrick.
If
And I mean that as a compliment. I don't mean that as a troll. Like, people forget how good Kevin Shattenkirk was
yeah.
once
He
upon a
got traded
time.
for a first round pick, yeah.
Dude, he was so highly acclaimed in 2017. Like, I remember that was the talk of the town for 2 weeks. So much so the fact that Washington had to jump Pittsburgh to go get him. And then Pittsburgh won the cup. Lol.
Yeah, and I remember like one goal of like Matt Cullen just turning him inside out.
And then they got Ron Hainsey and it fixed everything. Like,
Yeah.
oh, those Penguin teams aren't real, dude. They're not real.
I was like, it's 2017 is one of those years. I'm like, how do we let the Penguins win the cup? And then the more I think about it, I look at that defense. I'm like, damn, props to them for winning back to back and full seasons with that defense. Good God.
I'll give them credit, but also like they played Freddie Gaudreau as a top line center against
Yeah, I was
Sidney
gonna say,
Crosby.
but
like
I was gonna say more respect to Crosby and Malkin than
Of
anything
course.
because they carry.
Oh, dude, yeah, and Kessel. Like Kessel doesn't get nearly enough credit for those.
He should have got the Conn Smythe in 2016.
100%, dude. Like I know they wanted to give Crosby his, but like
it was a legacy pick.
It's like when Ovi got it over Kuznetsov. Like I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's happened a few times. With the Blackhawks 2013, we always talk Crawford.
Yeah, Crawford.
Like, even Kane said that himself.
Yeah. Oh man. Fun times. But Zane Perrick, I genuinely think this guy is a extremely solid offensive defenseman. Like the size will scare some people, but other people will see his skill set. And I think
he'd be the shortest defenseman on the Blackhawks Rocky Mountain defense.
Yeah, he's like Adam Boquist size, except he can actually skate. And I feel like that's something that isn't getting talked about enough. Like
feels like he isn't skating through quicksand, kind of like Boquist. Like Boquist was always kind of a weird skater,
but
he was so good at handling the
skate.
puck.
He can skate, and I think this guy's vision, I think his ability to see plays before they happen is something that doesn't get talked about enough with some defensemen. Because, like, obviously you want your defenseman to have good gaff control. You want him to be smart with the puck. But, like, also if your defenseman could see the play developing 3 passes before it happens, that's something that you can't even teach. And the more I watch him in junior, the more I'm seeing plays where it's like, oh, he knows where the puck's going to go after he passes it to this player. That's why he's passing it there. And I just think that type of offensive dynamo defenseman could do so many teams wonders. And like we see it in today's league. Like I'm not even gonna go in like to the high ceiling of players, but like if he can even be like I said, like a Kevin Shattenkirk, that
Bro,
is
you're
such a
laughing.
valuable asset. Like a Torrey
Yeah.
Krug, like something like that, where it's he's not a number one defenseman, but holy smokes, you need defensemen like that on the team. He's gonna put up
Mhm.
like that's a 50, 60 point defenseman in his
That's
prime.
just him being on the power play alone, like he will get probably 50 assists at his
Game changer
prime.
on the power play,
But
dude.
yeah.
Like that's the thing with some of these defensemen coming up now. They have such good offensive instincts. Like you better glue them to the power play when they're in the NHL. Like unless if you don't, it's a misuse of an asset, in my opinion. Honestly. And there's a lot of teams like his stock is skyrocketing. I can't see him getting out of the top 10 anymore. Like I wouldn't have said that 2 months ago, but he's gonna be a top 10 pick. And like I know a lot of Calgary fans are like, if we can get him, that'd be great. And it's like he would fit in that defense like a glove. There's a lot of defenses where like they need that offensive puck moving defenseman, and he would just fit so well. Like I'll even go as far as say a team like Arizona, man. Like, could you
Oh yeah.
imagine all those skilled forwards, and then you throw Perrick on the top of the quarterback on the power play? Like,
Sinishev. And
whew,
Edmonton in the universe, they trade Nick Schmaltz.
yeah, dude. Like, it would be. There's a lot of teams that could use his services. I will say that much. Like especially with how well guys like Sandy and Pellica have done in their D+1 year. I think it's only benefiting his stock at this point. What about you?
Yeah, I've really grown. Like he wasn't on the radar. I don't think for most people at the beginning. Like he was on like last year he had 21 goals in 50 games as a 16, 17-year-old defenseman. 37. Like he had more goals than assists. Like it just shows you how much the puck is on his stick, how much he's making plays. And now this year, I still love elite prospects or everything. I especially love how they have like the projected points. So through 55 games with Saginaw, 81 points, 28 goals, 53 assists. So now he's creating offense like crazy, and he's on pace to score 34 goals in 66 games as a defenseman, 64 assists for 98 points. I think that's better than what Evan Bouchard was putting up. And
Yep.
he was not an overager, but like he was a late 99 birthday in 2018. This guy's a February 06. By the way, that's 7 years difference. Holy crap.
Dude,
I gotta look that up now. I'm curious. Evan Bouchard's stats the year he was drafted.
dude, my whole thing with Perrick right now is like he doesn't have the same size as this guy, but I just see a ceiling where he's putting up offensive numbers like Brett Burns. I see it. I see a world where that happens, where he's a 15 goal, 45 point or 45 assist defenseman, like something like that. And you just can't stop him when the puck's in his hands. Like, yeah, he may be weak on his gap now and then. Yeah, he may not get back on the 2-on-1 like you want him to. But holy crap, if you put the puck in his hands, he's going to make magic happen. And I feel like at some point, some of these teams just have to take the good with the bad, and the good outweighs the bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the bad is very minuscule with his game, honestly. The more I watch it.
I always used to have the mindset of like, oh well, like if they can't play defense, so they're not gonna make the NHL. But like I've obviously shifted over now. Like, okay, you got this crazy offensive skill, you got this crazy skating. Yeah, the defense isn't great, but this guy is 18 years old playing in the OHL. He's gonna need a couple of years. Like I'd say he's a bit more of a project, but once it's complete, like you harness those offensive skills, but obviously you get them to play deep. Like it's easier to learn a defensive structure than learn how to have those kind of offensive skills in skating. And the saying always goes of, well, it's easier to tame a lion than paint stripes on a cat and try to make them a lion or whatever it is. Like I think that's the case of Perrick. I don't know if the Blackhawks if he would be on their radar just because of the size, and you look at the defense they've been building, like it's like getting on a ride. It's like 6'2" minimum.
Yeah, I really don't think, especially because like I think Silyev, Levshinov, and Dickinson are just they fit Davidson's bill for a defenseman way more.
Even Yakimchuk, I would think would be
Yakimchuk's a dude where like if he's there with the Tampa pick, they're gonna take him. I will die on that hill. Like that is like Kevin Korchinski 2.0 in terms of like, people aren't that high in him, but Davidson will be, and then the next year that guy takes off again. Like They're in a good spot. They're in a good spot. And if they take Perrick, like they're in a position where they have so much size, it wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Like you could take a flyer on that. But I don't think they
Well, I
take it
almost.
I don't think they take it fourth
Oh no
overall.
no no
You
no.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, unless they dropped like quite a bit. Like if they get like 5 or 6 somehow, like I think we might have that
They would have to
discussion.
go
That's
over
not happening.
500 to end the year for that to
Yeah,
happen, which is crazy. Um,
but like I think of the Red Wings, like the defense kind of defensemen they've drafted, like they've gone more taller. Like I think Red Wings have been pretty similar with how they drafted the defenseman with the Blackhawks. Like they picked Moritz Seider, and Mort Seider kind of seems like a combination of Alex Vlasic and Kevin Korchinski with how like highly regarded. Like he's a great two-way defenseman, but then the Red Wings drafted Axel Sandin Pellikka last year, right? Who I'm pretty sure is a sub 6 foot defenseman. So maybe the Blackhawks do that. I don't know, but I'm really intrigued by him and how quickly he's risen up the ranks, and I think he could be a steal. And part of me thinks he might go in the top 10, but then I think of Carter Yakimchuk, all these bigger defensemen, and I can't help but think, what if he slips outside the top 10? Um, I'm thinking like that pairing of Alex Vlasic and Anton Siliev, like
I just see a world where Davidson loves that, and it's like
yeah,
I can't
or
even be
even
mad at the end of the day.
Yakimchuk. Yeah,
Yeah, Siliev's just such an interesting prospect to me because like I could see him going as high as 2.
he's almost kind of like Simashev from last year, but bigger.
And I feel like his offensive upside's higher, which is
Yeah,
something that
absolutely.
wasn't the case with Simashev, I think. Like Simashev's offense wasn't terrible, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The way Siliev uses his size is definitely enticing as a fan. I just like we've talked about it. I have my favorites in this draft class, and
Mm-hmm.
he's not in there. And that's nothing against his game. It's just I like there's players I like more. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Right now, obviously celebrating is number one. I know I'm being a little controversial and brave by putting him number one, but that's
Shocker.
where I have him. Yeah. Shocker from liberal woke Canada, putting the Canadian number one. But yeah, Macklin Celebrini number one. I really like Caden Lindstrom. Like you could roll the dice with Lindstrom or Levchunov, and I'm good. Really, that's
Give me
how I
one
got
of the
it.
L's, baby.
Yeah. We gotta take a W with those L's. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. No, we definitely gotta get a prospect person on in this next little bit. I remember, like, we could probably get Mitch Brown on
I was
again.
about to say, good old Mitch Brown. I need to hear his opinions.
He like they're like all the prospect guys we have on. I always talk about like it's the niche of the niche where you're talking about prospects in the most niche sport. Like these guys know their shit. Like, but I feel Mitch Brown is just on another. Yeah, I'm gonna send him a DM. And Scott Wheeler is another really good one. I always like hearing his insight. I DM'd him last month, but he said it's really busy. He's been really busy, and I see that because he's put out the top, I think, 32 prospect pools. The Blackhawks came in 7th, but they didn't have this guy Connor Bedard on it, so that's why.
Yeah, or Korchinski, or Vlasic, or
Vlasic. Yeah, yeah. Could you imagine like Vlasic like was this hyped like defenseman coming in the season, and like they did that after the draft? Blackhawks would easily be number one, and like Bedard would help a lot of that. But yeah.
That's the beauty of prospects. So, like, I don't think any of us thought Vlasic was going to have this type of upside to his game defensively, and he is. It's almost like those 2 light stints he had in the NHL early on really helped him because I feel like he learned. I think he learned just what he could do with his size at the NHL level. And I'd like, how many times do I just bang on the table? Like, if you are big, if you are over 6'2", use your size because no one is going to be able to stop you if you know how to use it. And like we talk about Tage Thompson all the time. He discovered at one point, hey, I'm the biggest 2 on the ice. Let me start going crazy. Like,
let me just fuck around. I'm 6'7", yeah.
Literally, like Zdeno Chara did that at one point in his career. He's like, screw it, I'm freaking 6'9" or however tall he is.
Bro,
I'm
just
just
gonna rip the puck at 110 miles per hour.
Dude, and like how many times has Vlasic this year just been like, oh, I can just like coast to coast this shit and get a shot on net real quick, shorthanded. Like every time Vlasic gets a breakaway, it's so smooth, and I'm just like, I forget this guy has somewhat of an offensive upside. Like, imagine he starts hitting on one of those breakaways like every couple months.
Dude, it feels like every other game he has a breakaway.
And it's like shorthanded all the time. I swear to God. Like,
Yeah, or like so, yeah.
he's got that deceptive speed, man. It's those long strides. Like
Hmm.
he actually has a pretty good step to his game. I don't know, man. It gets me excited about the team knowing that like we're already seeing signs of players who are going to be here for the future. I just hope management sees that and signs him long
I
term.
think they do. I have the like I'll give them the benefit. I think they know they gotta sign Vlasic long term. I think they want to. I
It
think that could
benefits
work out.
both parties,
Mm,
honestly. Vlasic
yeah,
ends up getting like a $30 million contract, and the
yeah.
Blackhawks don't. The Blackhawks will then get Alex Vlasic for the prime years of his career, and that's a guy who's going to be a minute eater. That's a guy who's going to block a lot of shots. Like he's going to have some hard miles, so it's good to lock him up
Mm,
now instead of when he's 27.
yeah, go to the future. Like this is gonna be the guy. Like when the Blackhawks are back in contention again, you're going up against Nathan McKinnon. You're going up against fuck you like Logan Stay coming from Dallas. Like you're going up against the best of the best. So and like all the numbers suggest he's done. Like he had a couple bad games earlier this month, and it's like, oh, I'm good again. Like,
Yeah, dude. It's so
yeah, I
silly.
feel like 11 points in 53 games this year. Again, this team has no offense. That's even just as impressive with how well defensive he's been playing. I feel like once like this team is going, like I think he could put up 30 points, maybe 25.
If the offensive around him is generating enough, I think he will because
Mhm.
he's very good on the cycle in the
He
offensive
has
zone.
such a good breakout pass. That's such an
Mhm.
underrated part.
Dude, the pass he had to Bedard in Edmonton, where Bedard just
Mm,
roosted it, like that's the shit I want to see more of with this team.
yeah,
Like those are the glimmers of hope you see that are just like, okay,
yeah.
we're moving in the right direction slowly but surely.
And it's not anyway. We see a lot of these taller defensemen. Like, I mean, Martin Marincin maybe isn't the best example, but like, what really prevents these like tall defensemen, where you look at okay, they can skate, like, but they handle the puck like a grenade. Alex Vlasic does not handle the puck like a grenade, and he doesn't chuck it at other people's feet. Like, he makes very smooth outlet passes. So, just man, it does suck seeing someone like Lucas Reichel not having a great year, but I mean that's sports, man. There's gonna be people that have up and down years, and just everything we've seen from Alex Vlasic, he's been the biggest surprise easily, and like now we're penciling him in to be the number one shutdown defenseman for like next 5+ years, maybe even decade. But and it's well deserved too. Like he's getting, I think, recognition around the NHL now. I'm like, damn, Blackhawks kind of suck, but hey, this Alex Vlasic kid, he's pretty good at defending and all that.
Dude, if you would have told me he was the defenseman that was going to take the major leap this year, I wouldn't have believed you, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. And I'm so
Mhm.
glad I'm surprised about this. It gives me more faith for guys like Del Mastro who are figuring it
Yeah.
out down
I
low.
think
Like,
Del Mastro can, if he's even like half of what Vlasic, god
dude,
damn,
if he could be
there's a
the three,
shutdown
if he could be
pairing.
the three lefty, that's money. Like your whole left side's made then. You have Korchinski, you
Mhm.
have Vlasic, you have Del Mastro. Each of them bring a different style of game to the table.
Yeah.
Like you just got to get like you always like you've said for years, they just got to get one more righty at that point, and they're
And that's
kind of
why I'm
set.
so high on Lev Shunov, because I feel he just does a little bit of everything right.
He'd be the perfect complement to Korchinski's high octane offense. And then
Yeah.
you could do Vlasic Jones in the second pair, and then the third pair you could do Renzel and Del Mastro. Like if that's the
Oh my
defense in 3 years, that's
god.
amazing. And like,
And
yeah,
you just got like Nolan Allen as the seventh dude. You can put
yeah.
in
Oh,
there.
Nolan Allen's
Maybe.
your extra. Oh darn,
Yeah.
whatever's gonna happen. Like
Well, shucks.
it's like, well, it's a
He's no
good
Jared
problem.
Tenorti.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good problem to have. That's for sure. And then also like if you go Levshin off with let's say the second pick,
Hmm.
I feel like that really has to open you up to getting a free agent. Like it has to.
Yeah.
Because you can't bank on sucking in 2025 to get
No.
Bedard's forward. So it's not going to be the forward everyone wants, but like they're going to have to go get someone if they don't draft a forward this year. But like if
Dude.
they don't draft a forward, they've set up their whole defense. That's basically what
Hmm.
that means. So
Hmm.
there's positives of both ends, is basically what I'm trying to
I
say.
Yeah, just make that prospect core better. That's all that really matters, and they will.
Keep loading.
Yeah, yeah. The more I see Chandler Stevens as a free agent, I really feel like the Kyle Davidson will be all over that.
I love
I
Chandler
mean,
Stevenson. The guy I want
two.
is Daniel Sprong, but
Hey, but we can get both.
we definitely could get both. That's not the
Yeah,
issue.
why not both?
I just think Chandler Stevenson would give this team an actual 2C, and then you could literally play Nazar with Bedard on the wing. You could play Oliver Moore on the wing. You could do all these different things with your wingers or centers if you
Like,
get a Chandler Stevenson.
and it helped. Like, you can do. I mean, you got Bedard as your 1C, but you can do worse with Chandler Stevenson as your 2C and Dickinson as your 3C.
Oh no, Chandler Stevenson, who's like led Vegas in points the last 3 years. Like,
he had like 10 goals in the playoffs last year.
dude, it's the guy who got traded for a 5th round pick once upon a time. Like, I don't know how it's one of the craziest development stories I've seen in recent memory. This year he has. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna. You continue. Sorry.
I was just gonna say this year he has 34 and 55, but the 2 previous years he had 65 and 64 points. Dude, he's a big assist guy, so like it would be a perfect type of player to get for Bedard on the power play. And I feel like the factor that we haven't talked about yet, we can give Chandler Stevenson whatever he wants financially.
That's what I mean. Like 2 years, $6 million. You could give him more than $6 million.
Dude, give him the Orloff deal. Give him 8 times 2. I'm so dead ass. I'm so dead ass. If Carolina can do it, we can do it. That's how that works. And sorry.
I was gonna say it's not like he's this veteran that's like, oh, I need to win. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. So
yeah, he could take the money now at this point. And
yeah,
if he's coming off a down year, who's to say just fuck it? Just pay, like you said, pay him 7.5 times 2 or something. Pay him 6 times 3. Like overpay,
I would
but
even
also
do that.
You're getting such a good player in return, or such a useful player because he could play all throughout your lineup. So like
every position up and down the lineup, every like power play, penalty kill, anywhere. Like,
because like think when this team finally gets to the point where they want to be in 3 years, let's say it's the last year of Chandler Stevenson's deal, that would make him probably the 2nd or 3rd line center on the team, hopefully, or a 2nd line winger or something. And it would just makes the depth a lot easier on the kids when you get players like that, in my opinion.
And guys who like it's cliche, but guys who have been through the ringer, like. And Chandler Stevenson was never like, oh, this is Camus prospect. Like this guy had to work through, and like he won a cup with Washington, and he got traded. He was still doubted, and then he really found his game in Vegas. So that's invaluable as well.
100%. He could teach these kids just what work ethic can do for a player, because that's what it is at the end of the day. That guy worked his fucking ass off and earned an opportunity with Vegas, and he never looked back. Genuinely.
Yep. Doing the Lord's work for people with the last name Stevenson out here.
Facts. If only he was as good as Pierce Stevenson in Sheet Liga.
Yeah, well, you know.
Tragic.
I have Chandler Stevenson in Sheet Liga. So.
I know. You're doing all the moves I want the Hawks to make. You got Stevenson, you got Zegras, like
for real.
Except I wouldn't trade Frank Nazar for Zegras, but that's just me.
No, but I mean, yeah. I got.
Pierce is trying to win a cup in Sheet Liga, ladies and gentlemen.
You
haven't gathered.
Dude, it's been 4 years that we've done that. I was looking through my pictures the other day. I have a screenshot, I think, from like November or December of 2020. And I'm like, it was the first year of it, the first season. And I remember having like my first line of like JT Comfort, Kevin LeBanc, and Kevin Fiala.
Jesus.
Because I remember I traded Patrick Kane to the Avalanche and I got Byram, Newhook, and I think a first and Comfort as well, just to balance out the book. So that's why I had Comfort. And then I think I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I traded like I traded Demfrinkin and Strome to San Jose for like I don't remember what I got, but it wasn't a great trade, clearly. But I got Kevin LeBanc back, and then I traded Taves to Minnesota, and I got Kevin Fiala and Sergei Bobrovsky
back when Taves had trade value.
Because Bobrovsky was on Minnesota, and then he had like a cracked run for me, and I made the playoffs on like the last day, just by like 1 point, and I had Kevin Fiala like crazy. Bringing back all these memories. Sheet Liga. Oh, speaking of Sheet Liga, we'll have Jacob on next podcast, and our good pal Mitch will be making his debut. So
it'll be a fun one for sure. I want to hear them both dissect the Eichel trade.
I love
both
Mitch
sides
so
of the
much.
story on this one.
I know. I love Mitch so much because I remember when the Golden Knights got Yamark. I remember watching that Game 7, Vegas, Minnesota, and Yamark got the hat trick. And he was at the game, and he like sent me a picture. And he's like, "I love you so much, Pierce." And he like, showed a picture of Matthias Janmark. I don't know if I have the DM still. I don't think I do. But and then when the Blackhawks won the draft lottery, he's like, "I'm so happy for." I just love Mitch. He's so awesome. Also, Logan Stankoven scored again.
Oh yay! That's
The pain never ends.
so
The
great.
suffering is
So great, guys. I hate this. Well, Morgan Geeky hat trick, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, first career hat trick, and also Vegas has made the game 4-3. So okay. Chandler Stevenson apple. Lol.
Hell yeah! Did you? That's another guy, Michael. Did you see Bruce Cassidy's quote? He was like, "Yeah, it's nice coming to Boston with a ring on my finger."
Damn.
I know.
Dude, yeah, I just saw the stinky oven goal. Oh, baby. Why is he in our division? Why? On Dallas, too, no less, bro. They don't need it. Like, they just don't.
Yeah, they really don't. Like, just going back to that day, like, I could have lived with everything. Like, I can live easy with the Seth Jones trade now, like, up Bedard. But, like, just imagine they come out with Stankoven that day. Like, that's one more guy for Bedard to play with.
Dude, Stankoven and Seth Jones, like, I don't think any of us complain ever about that trade. Like, it's like, cool, you got Sillinger and a bunch of pieces. We got fucking Seth Jones. At this
point, I would take Stankoven over Sillinger. And I mean, Columbus is kind of fucked.
Yeah, and that's nothing against Sillinger. It's just shocker, Columbus and developing prospects. Who would have ever guessed that this would have problems? Wow, this is crazy.
But I mean, hey, they keep them around and stuff, and then it all works out.
What's the point of keeping them around if you're going to hinder their development? Like, I don't know. I could go on a whole tangent about that. We're not going to do that today.
Yeah, so
save it for the deadline when they don't make any moves.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll have that podcast on Monday, and then we might record day before, day after the deadline. Do you know what your schedule is looking like for the deadline?
I won't know till Monday, so sure. I won't know if we can stream the deadline till then.
All right. So. I'll probably still get someone on. See if I can get someone on with me. So we got 15 games. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, just joins the Zoom call at work. Like, hey guys, hey guys, I'm gonna go do this over here. I'll be back in like 20 minutes. Let me know let me know what happens.
Yeah, guys, I just gotta go to the bathroom. I'm not feeling so well. And
joins the stream. All right, who got traded?
Yeah,
exactly. Alex Turcotte of Blackhawk. Let's go. Oh man.
Okay. So we got 15 minutes before the Blackhawks Avs games. We do have Twitter questions. I did want to do Reddit stories originally, but I'm like, yeah,
let's just do Twitter questions. We'll do Reddit stories with Mitch and Jacob. That'll be more fun. I like more opinions for the Reddit stories. Mitch has never been a part of them too. It'd be a good time. We could do like
that's gonna be chills. That's gonna be chills. Okay. Speaking of Jacob, first question: why are you so fucking cute? I don't know. I'm just a cutie, I guess.
Genetics. I don't know.
Yeah. It runs in the family. Yeah, you got a sharp-looking family. From Emperor Front, how many trades do you think are going to happen? I think 3 happen.
Hold on, I'm gonna look this up real quick.
Whether that's within the next week or tonight or at the trade deadline, I don't know, but I think 3 trades happen.
Okay, Patrick Starr.
That'll cost you $5 or $3. I only have 5.
Okay, so last deadline, only 19 trades occurred. So
okay, 19 trade deadline.
That's
it. Not me.
19 trade deadline. Who wants it? And no, I'm not giving it away. And trolls don't get blocked. But yeah, I'm gonna go with more than 19 this year. Let's just say that. I'm gonna go with over
21.
21. No, 23 in honor of Philip Kurashev, the best player to ever wear number 23 in Chicago.
Best 23 in Chicago sports history.
Ever. Yeah. In any sport.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan who? Devin Hester who? Philip Kurashev bitches. Actually, no, he's still not even the best one. It's Chris Versteeg. Anyways.
No,
second stint, Chris Versteeg.
Yeah. Now, you know what? I think 20 trades happen in honor of how many wins the Blackhawks are going to get this season.
Oh, okay. I can't believe the NHL is going to do that for the Blackhawks. That's so nice of them.
Rigging it again. Classic NHL.
Oh my god.
At Adley Lamar King, y'all should make like a prediction sheet for the biggest names on the block, plus like one hot take of someone who isn't being talked about being traded and someone who will shockingly not get moved. I feel like we kind of touched on that with our mock trade session.
For sure. I guess just like one surprise guy that could get traded, I think. And like you gotta look at these with like term. You gotta look at like what position teams are in and stuff. I'm gonna say one of the St. Louis Blues defensemen gets traded at the deadline, and that's a crazy one. But like Colton Parayko almost got traded.
I was gonna
last
say
year.
who's gonna be
Like
stupid and trade for Colin Parayko or Justin Falk.
exactly, like someone's gonna be dumb enough to make that move, and
That's true.
it
Who
would
would it
shock
be?
a lot of people.
Leafs.
I also think Nick Dowd getting that first round pick would send the world ablaze. Like I just think that would be really funny.
Yeah, it would.
And then also a guy who might not get traded. All right. I think I said it earlier, but Jake Gensel. Like I don't think Jake Gensel's getting moved. I really don't. I can't see Dubas punting his first year with Crosby. I really can't.
I don't even know what their situation is like to get into the playoffs. I don't think it's great. So
It's not great. It's not. They
I
lose
feel like-
more than they win.
yeah, I feel like Dubas just wants to do a rebuild anyway, so I think he will. But I mean, I don't know.
We'll see. What about
It's
you?
true. Patrick, are the Panthers trading for Gensel legitimate rumors or trying to drive his value up? I mean, I don't know if the Panthers would make that happen. Like, I don't know. I don't think they have the draft picks. I don't know because I feel like
They have
traded so
nothing
many.
that they could trade for him unless it's a roster move. Like it would have
Unless
to be
you're moving
Lundell.
like Samaskevich.
Yeah, or Lundell or like something crazy because they have no picks. They have no picks.
No,
period.
I don't think they have much of a prospect pipeline outside of Samaskevich. So, I mean, Gensel on the Panthers would absolutely be nasty. I mean, Florida, they don't even have to make any moves. Like and I think they're a cup favorite. Like I could see them like coming out of the East again. They're that good, and they've been playing that well. But I can't see that happening unless they trade away like a 2028 first round pick.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, fucking 28 first round pick. How about that? 20 people born 2010.
Yeah, let's not speak that into existence.
Okay. And from a good pal boomer, who does Chicago trade away? Who do the Rangers get? Why does it hurt me when they do? I feel
Chicago's trading Jared Sonorni.
Hell yeah. I think Colin Blackwell. Hot take, I think Colin Blackwell gets a third.
Well, I could see it.
I think like a team like Colorado, I think would get Blackwell. Boston. Even the Rangers, I think could get Blackwell. So I'll link that in with who the Rangers get. Blackwell goes back to the Rangers' third round pick. Boom.
Oh man. Yeah, that's probably the names I would throw out there. Tyler Johnson's another one. I think that's probably getting moved because he's healthy and playing well right now. And that's out of respect for him being on a shit team for 3 years. So like,
going a third,
third or second maybe. Like he's actually scoring at a decent clip right now, so that might get him a second. But and the fact that he hasn't been able to face off this year.
Oh, good lord! I would take a third round pick for Tyler Johnson.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I just look at what NHL GMs think, and they're like, "This guy won 2 Stanley Cups. Let's go trade Let's go trade a second for him."
Yeah,
but the Rangers, I think I've made my point clear. I think Adam Henrique is like right up their alley with who I think they should pick up. Maybe get another depth defenseman because it never hurts. But like goaltending, they're set. Wing, they're set.
They have a worst of top 5 goaltending deal. Like quick carry the load forever, and then now Shesterkin is starting to find it again.
Well, no, Shesterkin had like 3 bad months, and now he's back. Like, I think he earned that. You know what I mean? Like like Ranger fans were getting on his case, and it's like, he kind of carried your team for 3 years. He could take a couple months off, guys. It's okay.
Yeah.
Gary Price even did that once upon a time. But yeah.
And last question, again, we kind of touched on our thoughts on Tanev return. Kind of underwhelming because I feel like Tanev could have gotten a first round pick. Like again, it's always the talk of it's probably 30s or late 20s, but Yeah, I feel
It
just
really
with
depends
the
on like what they do with that prospect. Like if Grish
yeah.
cannot, or if he's gonna be in your lineup next
If he's
year,
even a regular, yeah, like
that's a
that's
win.
a solid trade. Yeah.
But that we'll see. They got 2 draft picks. They got 2 cracks at the board. Let's see if they can
True.
hit.
But yeah, all in all, like if I'm a Flames fan, I'm not too optimistic about what Craig Conroy is doing. Though, I mean, if they hit on a Hannafin trade, then I think that kind of changes things. But I just feel there's so many big issues that need to be sorted out with that
100%.
team. Well. I think that's about her. Yeah, the game starts in like
Probably
probably by
like
the time
20
puck
minutes
drops,
because it's
probably like 15
ESPN.
minutes.
But
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes. Yeah.
sorry, we got to hear Messier like contemplate his thoughts for freaking 15 minutes before the game or whatever. At least you guys don't have to hear that. You get the Canadian broadcast. It's probably gonna be someone good.
Oh no, I think we'll probably get that. The
Oh,
only time we
lame.
would get
Let's hope
I
it's
would get
Bob
Canadian.
Wishition. Then it'd be good. That'd be sick. Just screaming. Don't give me
Yeah,
Butcher Drops though.
no, I'm not a fan. Yeah, like if they're playing the Leafs, yeah, I always get the Canadian one. But yeah, if it's two American teams, I always get whatever. Like whether
Oh,
it's
word.
NBC Sports Chicago or if it's on ESPN or TNT. So
Well, hopefully it's the good ESPN announcers. So, like, let's hope
yeah,
it's like even McDonough. I don't have a problem with. So
yeah, I'm kind of indifferent.
he's not the best, but like, there's worse ones out there. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Hey, at least you
But
won't
yeah,
have to listen to Colorado's announcer.
oh my god, yeah, we could
Oh
go on
my
forever
goodness, are
about
you
that.
kidding me?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, he just scored.
Oh my goodness, are you serious? Are you kidding me? Nick Foligno just buries the puck and makes it 3-2. Just complete demeanor change.
All
Yeah.
right, let's wrap this up. If you're watching our beautiful face on YouTube, peep the new podcast design, the new podcast logo. I think it's kind of hot, if I'm being honest. You know that like junior high and high school computer classes are finally paying off for me.
Let's go!
So,
Graphic design is my
let's go!
passion.
So yeah, I have another podcast on Monday again with the boys. We'll have Mitch and Jacob join. Looking forward to that. And then we'll either have one like a podcast a day or day of or day before. We'll have a podcast going through the trade deadline.
Yes,
Yeah, but
sir.
yeah. Thank you for tuning in. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. And we shall commence next time. Peace out, y'all.